Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to send you all this message to kickstart our strategy day. Last time we met was 2018. Back then, we previewed a lot of ideas. We wanted to create a financial and lifestyle ecosystem. We wanted to scale up our non-credit business. We wanted to implement artificial intelligence all over the business, and much more. I'm proud to say that a lot of these ideas become a reality. We built one of the most valuable brands in Russia. It is in top 50, as a matter of fact, with an incredibly fast-growing and loyal customer base of over 13 million at the end of 2020. And as we continue to lead and disrupt the Russian financial scene through incredible product quality and our customer-centric approach. And that's exactly what today is about. The Tinkoff management team will tell you in more details what will shape the future of Tinkoff over the next 3 years and beyond, including our targets. These days, I see lots of hype in the fintech world, some justified, some less. Regardless, I think there is still huge value for our shareholders, given the fact how we are growing, how many innovative products we have, how diversified and resilient the business is, and the fact that we do the things that very few fintechs around the world are capable of doing, grow and make money at the same time. Last year, in global pandemic, we delivered fantastic 40% ROE. I think we should finally be able to deliver the 1 billion net income over the next strategy period. That is, of course, if the ruble cooperate with us. Over the last few years, Tinkoff has reached a new level of maturity. And in order to reach our ambitious growth targets, we have to take our corporate and social responsibility to the next level. That's why over the last year, we started to implement a roadmap of corporate governance improvements. This is an area where we have already done a lot, but we are only getting started. I gave up my super votes, and we are putting together a board that will provide the necessary oversight and advisory roles to make sure that the next strategy period is even more successful than the one we have just completed. And to help out in case one day we decide to go outside of Russia. Even if I'm not involved in the day-to-day running of the business anymore, I want to assure you that I plan to remain a large shareholder in Tinkoff for a long time, and I'm not looking to sell any shares. I love the company, I love what we are doing, and there is still many things we want to achieve, and I hope as many investors as possible will be on board with us to see what's the results. And last, I would like to thank all of you who have been close to me during what has been a pretty tough and rough year for me, 2020. Your support means a lot, and I hope I will get to thank you all in person soon. So now I give the word to Oliver. I hope you enjoy what he's talking to you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hello everybody, I'm Oliver Hughes, CEO of Tinkoff Group. Welcome to our Strategy Day. Today, after a long wait, we're pleased to present to you our strategic vision for Tinkoff, along with our 2023 targets and ambitions. We've come a long way over the last decade, but we look forward to the next 10 years with excitement as we accelerate our disruption of the Russian financial landscape. Today, we want to take you on a journey to understand not only what these targets are, but also to show you exactly what gives us the confidence that we can deliver on them, as we have done many times in the past. But before we get cracking, I think it's important to set the scene and recap on what we achieved in the previous strategy period from 2016 to 2020. It's been a very eventful, stimulating, and successful 4 years. We launched and scaled up 8 new business lines, creating products and services that are now available through the first financial super app in Europe. We also went beyond finance by launching lifestyle services that are already used by more than 5 million monthly active users. We've become the largest retail player in brokerage in Russia, and the second largest in internet payments. Our technological and logistical capabilities have continued to scale up. We processed more than 5 billion card transactions, more than 100 million credit applications, have fielded more than 200 million incoming customer communications, and fulfilled more than 25 million deliveries. As a result, Tinkoff has become one of the top 50 most valuable Russian brands and one of Russia's top employers. These business milestones made us the third largest retail bank in Russia by the number of customers. Importantly, we're consistently ranked among the top 3 retail banks for customer satisfaction. We have the highest NPS in the sector. And of course, we did all this while growing our earnings by an average of 38% per year, with a 56% average ROE, returning more than 37 billion rubles of dividends over the same period. Our business has become more resilient and more diversified, with non-credit businesses accounting for a very substantial part of our revenues and also net profit from nil in 2016. But if there's one statistic that really proves the success of our business model and the quality of our offering, it's our growth in the number of customers. We quadrupled our customer base to over 13 million customers at the end of 2020. We have more than 3 million daily active users and 9 million monthly active users across all our main apps and interfaces. These are not some inflated headline customer numbers. These are real customers that are loyal and have chosen Tinkoff as their main financial provider. On average, a Tinkoff Black debit card customer holds more than $800 on their bank account. This is multiple times higher than many of the UK neobanks that are the second or third banking relationship for many customers. This difference is all the more impressive when we compare the difference in wages and savings between Russia and the UK. But we're only just getting started. We've laid down the foundations to achieve a lot more, and that's just what we'll present to you today. These graphics show what we aim to achieve in our next strategy period to 2023. Our strategic goal is to grow our customer base profitably by building the most comprehensive, engaging, and innovative financial and lifestyle ecosystem in the world. Several words are highlighted here, and that's no coincidence. They're the cornerstones of our strategy that will guide us through today's presentation. We want to grow rapidly because we see huge potential to further disrupt the Russian financial scene. We can do that if we provide a superior set of products and services that are comprehensive enough to satisfy our customer needs. We can do that if these products and services drive engagement, unlocking ecosystem and network effects. And we can do that if we maintain our innovative spirit and evolve our technological know-how. And if that isn't enough, we're sure we can do all of this while maintaining the high profitability profile that we've demonstrated year in, year out. So I'll kick off by talking about our growth prospects. We've pretty ambitious targets to significantly increase the size of our business. Contrary to popular belief, Russia has been a very high growth market for those business areas and parts of the economy that are relevant for Tinkoff, ranging from penetration of card payments and contactless payments to growth in retail brokerage that we've seen go through the roof in the last few years. Consumer lending volume has also continued to grow, as has the penetration of internet and e-commerce transactions. In this environment, we see growth along 2 main runways. We can deepen markets where penetration is still low, and we can continue to gain market share across all the various markets in which we operate. Let's start from the idea of market deepening on the credit side of our business. At the end of 2019, there were still less than 40 million people in Russia with any kind of debt. If we take a conservative number of employed people in Russia, that still leaves more than 30 million people that have no debt at all, including a substantial number of people that had some form of debt in the past and are therefore familiar with the concept of borrowing. The overall trend is definitely towards more people in Russia being open to the idea of taking a loan, which supports our credit growth assumptions. Another way to look at this is through an economic lens. Not only does Russia still have plenty of room to grow its GDP per capita, but when compared to countries with similar wealth, it also remains heavily underleveraged if you measure retail loans as a percentage of GDP. Look at Brazil, South Africa, China, Malaysia as an example. This further reinforces our view that the credit growth opportunity remains very sizable indeed. If the opportunity in credit looks sizable, the opportunity in non-credit looks huge, given even lower penetration. Here we can use wealth management and insurance as two examples. In Russia, the culture of saving through financial assets is very new, although it's changing very quickly. More than 80% of household savings are held in cash and bank deposits. This is remarkably low, even if we compare it to other emerging markets like Brazil and Mexico. The voluntary insurance market is also very underdeveloped. As a consequence, insurance penetration in Russia stands at less than 2% of GDP. This is small compared to other emerging markets and tiny relative to developed nations. We're therefore very fired up about the prospects of our non-credit business lines. We firmly believe that our disruptive business model will enable us to continue to take market share. While we have a meaningful market share in credit cards, the result of years of disruption through our direct-to-consumer approach, we are still small in the context of the overall Russian banking market. We have a 3% share in car loans and 2% share in retail loans. When it comes to banking for business, where we play in the SME space, we're even smaller, with less than 0.5% of current accounts for legal entities. The message here is that we believe we can do in other products what we did with credit cards. The potential to capture new market share is enormous. Another example of our ability to gain market share and the huge opportunity that lies ahead can be seen in our market share of card purchase volumes. We've grown our share in this space exponentially in the last few years, becoming the third largest bank by card purchases. Nonetheless, we hold only mid-single-digit market share, implying a significant area of growth as we acquire more and more customers and account for an ever greater share of their wallet. Having a huge growth opportunity is great, but it's important to understand that we know exactly how to go about capturing this. Our track record over the last few years should speak for itself, but we decided to lay out explicitly how growth is deeply embedded in our organization DNA and structure. This is at the core of what differentiates us from any global peer, and what is largely responsible for our success. Our growth DNA is built around certain principles. We base our acquisition efforts on mapping the customer journey. We have a permanent test and learn approach. And when we find an acquisition channel we like, we aggressively scale it within our NPV framework, the effectiveness of which is constantly improved through deep data analytics. These principles are deeply ingrained into the way our teams are structured. We own all of our technical infrastructure and have full control over our acquisition channels because we keep our marketing teams in-house. Each business line has its own mini marketing and sales team, which uses cross-functional and cross-business acquisition platforms. This organizational structure and this approach have enabled us to create a best-in-class customer acquisition machine, comprising multiple high-volume acquisition channels. We invest heavily into brand marketing. As I said earlier, we now have one of the top 50 most valuable brands in Russia. We're arguably one of the best companies in the world in performance marketing, with the ability to identify, test, and scale channels with a high degree of confidence about their long-term economics. We are the pioneers in Russia when it comes to acquisition through the web, mobile, and digital channels in general. Our cross-sell platform, which will be discussed later in more detail, is based on highly predictive behavioral models that are based on our customers' journeys and transactional data. And finally, our focus on creating better products and being the best in the market acts as a very powerful viral acquisition mechanism in itself. All this goes to say that there is an obvious growth opportunity in Russia, and Tinkoff is the right organization to capture it. And to give you a further sense of our growth opportunity set, we're introducing two concepts. First, our serviceable addressable market, or SAM. We include in this the markets in Russia that we believe we can target now based on our existing products and services and current distribution channels. This obviously includes all unsecured consumer loans, some secured loans like car loans and home equity, car and travel insurance, brokerage and wealth management, online and offline payments and cards, SME, current accounts, mobile network services, travel and ticketing. Then there is our total addressable market, or TAM. This includes the markets in Russia into which we're thinking of expanding, or where we're still currently in test mode. These include BNPL, think Klarna or Afterpay, SME lending and merchant solutions, premium banking as another leg of our investments business, mortgages and other types of insurance and leasing. Finally, and by way of a teaser, We also consider international expansion as something that could seriously expand our total addressable market and thereby the growth opportunity ahead of us. Remarkably, according to our estimates, our SAM in 2020 represented more than $40 billion of net revenues, as you can see here from our SAM, broken down by our main products and services. And since we generated $1.4 billion of net revenues in 2020, it means that in spite of our already impressive growth journey, we managed to capture only 4% of the potential revenue opportunity in 2020. If we think about what this SAM net revenue opportunity could look like by 2023, we estimate it will be more than $50 billion, or almost 40 times larger than our 2020 net revenue. Crucially, more than 75% of this net revenue opportunity comes from non-credit business lines. So all in all, even if we were to limit ourselves to our current product and services set, we see tons of room to grow our revenues. These growth targets go hand in hand with our customer growth ambitions. Bringing more customers into the ecosystem is one of the key drivers that will take us to these SAM targets. We see customer growth from two main angles: growing the total number of active customers and deepening engagement with each customer. So first, what do we mean by the word customer? You've heard us speak in the past about having reached more than 13 million customers. At the end of 2020, we had a total of 13.3 million customers, defined as customers that have utilized a product with us and still have it open. This number is already very solid and is a much stricter definition than the one used by most fintechs around the world. They usually refer to opened accounts rather than utilized accounts. However, we go even further, and internally we run our organization using much stricter criteria. We use a customer metric that we call financial MAU. That is customers that have actually brought us revenues over the last month. That number at the end of 2020 was an impressive 9.1 million customers, which implies a 70% active to total ratio. So now that we've defined what a customer is, we could share with you some targets. We grew our active customer base, or financial MAU, from 2.3 million at the end of 2016 to 9.1 million at the end of 2020. We now believe that we can grow this number to at least 16.5 million by 2023. This still leaves us room to grow beyond that number because the economically active population in Russia is over 100 million people. The second angle is growing the number of products that a customer has with us on average. And this will be a big focus during today's presentation. We had 1.1 products per customer in 2016. We've grown this to 1.4 products by the end of 2020. We believe we can grow this to at least 1.7, despite the fast growth of the customer base. And conceptually, we don't see why our customers can't have at least two products with us. For example, a current account or one other product. This all boils down to growth in the total number of revenue-generating products. That is active customers times products per customer. This number will grow from 12.7 million at the end of 2020 to over 28 million by the end of 2023. This implies a more than doubling of our business from its current levels, and yet still leaves us plenty of room to grow thereafter. So to conclude, I want to leave you with the following messages. Russia has plenty of growth opportunities in credit and non-credit. We have the organizational DNA and design to capture that growth. Given our current set of products and services, we calculate at least $50 billion worth of net revenue opportunity, which is almost 40 times higher than we currently have. This opportunity could grow significantly if we move into adjacent products and eventually start our international expansion. We expect at least a doubling of our business over the next 3 years, as measured by the number of revenue-generating products outstanding. Now it's time to tell you in more detail how our vision of a comprehensive, engaging and innovative ecosystem will be key to achieving these growth targets. First up is our Chairman of the Management Board, Stanislav Bliznyuk, who will explain to you what we mean by creating a comprehensive financial and lifestyle ecosystem.
Thanks, Ola. Hello, everyone. My name is Stanislav Bliznyuk. I'm the chairman of the management board at Tinkoff and have been part of the management team since we founded the company in 2006. Oliver already explained how we grow, what our growth opportunity is, and what growth targets we have. To achieve this growth, we are creating an ecosystem that appeals to our customer, that satisfies their needs and solves their pain points they may have. With that in mind, I would like to explain why it's important for us to create an ecosystem that covers a comprehensive and relevant set of financial and lifestyle services for our customers. Tinkoff's story is one of evolution. We were founded in 2006 as a credit card monoliner, using direct mail as our main acquisition channel, using call center as our service platform, and with purely informational banking interface. But soon enough, we pioneered online banking in Russia, moved our acquisition online, added debit cards and deposits to our product sets, and added some simple transactional functionality to our web platform. By 2012, we realized that the world was moving towards mobile, which is why we started developing a simple transactional app with payment and wallet capabilities. By 2015, it was very clear that the mobile app was going to become the main interface for all our products and services. So, we started working on the app that would include all banking functionalities, all our products and services, all the cross-selling capabilities, customer acquisition, as well as loyalty and retention tools like cashback offers and more. Our next evolutionary step was the creation of a super app, moving way beyond traditional banking. Our customers can already do anything banking related through the app. And now the goal is to satisfy more and more of their lifestyle needs in one app. This app gives them access to a much broader range of products provided by third parties, but seamlessly integrated in the Tinkoff Super App. The Tinkoff Super App is the aggregator of all the Tinkoff products and services and has become by far the most comprehensive app of its kind. Through the Super App, customers can easily and with one Tinkoff ID satisfy their daily banking needs, make payments and transfers, access marketplaces, manage their lifestyle needs, finances, cashbacks, and bonuses, all powered increasingly by AI capabilities. Our digital expertise has enabled us to create an app that has been recognized as the best in class by our customers, as you can see from the App Store rating, but also from the several third parties. For example, Global Finance awarded us not only for the world's best consumer digital bank, but also for the best mobile banking application. Today, we are not going to go into much detail about each individual product. We have too many exciting products that deserve their own spotlight. Yet we want to give you a sense of their value proposition, their size, and their importance in our strategy. Before I take you through them, it's important to keep in mind how we think about our products and services. Every product in the Tinkoff ecosystem has to satisfy at least one of three main purposes. The first is customer acquisition. If it brings hundreds of thousands of new customers every month, we can afford to run it on the break-even level to supercharge our customer acquisition. This is, for example, our current accounts product, Tinkoff Black, and also our point-of-sale lending business line. The second is monetization. These are products that we actually make money on. These are credit products, retail brokerage, SME business, insurance, acquiring, and more. The third is engagement. These are products that are so rich in features, rewards, and interesting content, therefore driving engagement and virality. They make our customer more sticky and more loyal, and therefore with longer lifetime value. This is mainly our lifestyle banking, like booking restaurants, cinema and theater tickets, hotels and travels, and our content platforms like Tinkoff Journal. So, customer acquisition, monetization, and engagement are our main purposes for Tinkoff products. With that in mind, we can start by looking at the set of transactional products that we offer. The first product we'll discuss is Tinkoff Black. This is the best mobile current account in Russia. It's incredibly easy to open, provides a lot of rewards and benefits, and gives access to the superior customer service. This product has gone viral and has become our main customer acquisition channel. It costs us less than $20 to bring a new customer, which is very low and therefore improves the unit economics of all the products that we can cross-sell later. At the end of 2020, we had 4.9 million active customers. They are young, urban, mass affluent professionals. These customers are very interested in using more of our product range. We believe Tinkoff Black will continue to be the main engine to grow our customer base. Next is our SME business. This is a comprehensive transactional offering for individual entrepreneurs, small and medium businesses. It offers card accounts, payments, software solution to help SME manage and grow their business. Some of the most exciting services we offer are accounting, tax reporting, online and offline acquiring, business cards, cloud call center, website builder, CRM tools, salary projects, document builders, currency control assistance, online loans, new business registration, and much, much more. We have over 300,000 active customers, with increasing focus on medium enterprises. And here, we also have good runway for growth, having just over 5% of all individual entrepreneurs' accounts and less than 0.5% of all corporate accounts. This is a sizable, profitable business with very high LTV and very high return on our acquisition costs. Next is Tinkoff Investments. This is one of Tinkoff's flagship products and is a leading retail investment platform in Russia with over 3 million open accounts and over 1 million active customers. We are currently opening more than 1/3 of all accounts in Russia, and our customers represent 60% of active customers on the Moscow exchange. What's important is that we are catering to all categories of investors, from first-timers to active traders, all the way to highest net worth individuals who need more of advisory services. We can really say that we are pioneering and shaping the way this market is evolving. Our customers are similar to those that come through Tinkoff Black: young, urban, more mass affluent. And while this business only broke even in mid-2019, it already became a meaningful bottom-line driver, with some of the most attractive unit economics in our portfolio. We expect this business to become the largest contributor to the bottom line among our non-credit business lines. Then there is Tinkoff Insurance, a great ecosystem product composed of both captive and non-captive segments. The captive segment is very well developed and highly profitable. And the non-captive business is our attempt to disrupt a very large market in which we have less than 3% market share. This business is highly complementary to our banking business, and we are having success in cross-selling insurance policies to our customer base. Next is Tinkoff Acquiring. This is our C2B payments business that enables businesses to receive payments, both online and offline. Our main playing field is online acquiring, where we have more than 25,000 active merchants and are the second largest player in Russia. This is a highly technological business, and our offering is the most vertically integrated one in the market. Because of this, we lead in terms of conversion rates, fraud rates, ease of integration, and data analytics provided to our merchants. This business line has been profitable for several years and one of the highest unit economics in our portfolio. Last but not least is Tinkoff Mobile, our mobile network operator. It's a virtual operator, which means that we do not actually invest in the infrastructure necessary to have a network connection, but we buy data from our partner, Tele2, and act as an interface to the customer. We differentiate this offering from the traditional operators by providing highly technological, super value-added services, such as voice recognition software, recording of calls, intelligent voicemail powered by our virtual assistant Oleg, call recording with speech-to-text functionality, flexible tariff constructors, and many more. Plus, we integrate the offering with other Tinkoff ecosystem products, for example, offering free minutes to our Tinkoff Pro subscribers. This business line is still in investment mode, and we are confident that it will be fully break-even in 2022. All in all, our transactional products have grown to be a significant contributor not only to revenues, but also to our bottom line. As we saw earlier, based on our addressable market estimates, we see huge potential growth of our transactional business in the future. Next is our Credit Factory. This is a broad selection of lending products, ranging from unsecured loans like credit cards, cash loans, POS loans, to secured loans like car loans and home equity, all introduced with the goal of satisfying our customer spending and borrowing needs across various life events. We apply the same lending philosophy across all our lending products, which has served us well over the last decade and has led to Tinkoff remaining profitable through 3 crises. This philosophy is centered around NPV decision-making with a 30% discount rate, with this model using tens of predictive variables. We apply very strict credit limit increases policies based on the data we can collect from our customers. We focus on the niches where we don't compete on price and therefore price for risk. We mainly focus on small tickets and short duration lending, actively engaging in pre-collection and collection, carry out extensive verification, and ensure the stability of our balance through strict asset-liability duration matching. Our entire retail loan portfolio amounts to just 2% of all retail loans in Russia, therefore offering great room for market share increases. As already discussed earlier, this credit business remains one of the key ways we monetize our customer base, still generating a substantial portion of our revenues and bottom line. All products have great unit economics. What else is important to see here is that our secured lending products target a more mass affluent customer base. And while these loans are lower yielding than unsecured loans, they benefit from low acquisition, servicing, and risk costs, as well as lower capital requirements. This means that the growth in these segments is not only going to help us diversify net income, but is also not going to be dilutive to returns. And finally, here's an overview of our lifestyle banking offering. This is our venture beyond financial services. We provide customers a number of partner services that encourage customers to spend more time and more money with us, driving engagement, retention, and helping to differentiate our products and brand. Despite it still being in development phase, our lifestyle banking offering in our app already generates over 5 million monthly active users and more than 500,000 daily active users. We started with our core lifestyle services like cinema and concert tickets, restaurant booking, travel, shopping, and sport. All of them already have several hundreds of thousands monthly active users. But we then decided to broaden our offering to cater to more and more of our customers' needs. We therefore started integrating a lot of partner apps, ranging from food delivery to e-commerce, to flower delivery, doctor appointments, beauty products, and much more. Such partnership with third parties can increase our touch points with our customer very quickly and in a capital-light way. And merchants are extremely interested in partnership with Tinkoff because of our fast-growing and highly engaged customer base. With that said, we have huge opportunities to increase engagement of our customers. One of them is our storyboard within the app. Think Instagram stories, but instead of user-generated content, this is content generated by us, tailored and targeted using machine learning algorithms to flag interesting content or particular Tinkoff products to our customer base. We have almost 3 million monthly readers of our stories and over 200,000 daily readers. 35% of our users read at least one story per month. And a lot of the content that is provided in the stories comes from our own Tinkoff journal. This is our own independent personal finance magazine through which we provide a huge amount of educational and interesting content to our customers. It's incredibly loved and reliable source of educational information. It now has more than 9 million monthly active readers, millions of subscribers and followers, and a large workforce of authors and expert contributors to ensure a constant flow of relevant and interesting content. As we discussed earlier, lifestyle banking for us is the way of driving engagement and differentiating our offering, which over the long term will drive down customer acquisition costs and improve loyalty and retention. We therefore run these businesses on a break-even level, providing amazing financial and non-financial rewards for our customers, cashbacks, promotions, tailored offers, and more. With that, I hope I gave you a glimpse into how comprehensive our offering is. But this alone is not enough to achieve our strategy. It's important that customers use as many of these products as needed, and we can target each customer with personalized offers that encourage them to benefit from our ecosystem. To unlock ecosystem effects, it's not enough to have a comprehensive range of products and services I have covered in my section. The ecosystem needs to be engaging, which is what my colleague Danil will talk about next.
Thanks, Stas. Hello everyone, my name is Danil Anisimov and I am Vice President for Product Development and Portfolio Management at Tinkoff. As Stas mentioned, having the right products is a necessary but not sufficient condition to create a successful ecosystem. Our goal is to create an ecosystem that will encourage customers to be more engaged with Tinkoff, lowering customer acquisition costs, improving retention and loyalty, and also increasing LTV. And this is really the ultimate goal of creating an engaging ecosystem, to minimize customer acquisition costs and maximize lifetime value of our customers. And we can say that we created an ecosystem with all the products a customer may need. In a perfect scenario, we would create much more value for customers inside the ecosystem rather than outside it. And in theory, we would also incur most customer acquisition costs at the entry of the ecosystem. Only one time in customer's life, not every time a customer takes on a new product. In that perfect scenario, we would also become the first choice provider for all financial, lifestyle, transactional and credit choices for our customers, lengthening our relationships with them and leading to more revenue opportunities over a longer period of time, maximizing the customer's lifetime value. That is, of course, the theory what everyone talks about. But what we want to show you is the practice, the remarkable progress we have already made. You may recall that at the beginning of the presentation we said that at the end of 2020, the average Tinkoff active customer had 1.4 products. However, our Tinkoff Black customers actually already have 1.7 products on average. Testament to our hypothesis that moving towards more mass affluent customer really unlocks ecosystem benefits. And we can argue that 1.4 number is fairly conservative and lowered by the fast growth of our customer base. In fact, what you can see that customers who have been with us for many years already have significantly higher products per customer. On average, customers who have been with us for 1 year have 1.3 products, but customers who have been with us for several years already have 1.7, 1.8 products per customer that we target for the entire group by 2023. And clearly our current account Tinkoff Black is key to increasing engagement. This is a highly demanded product that gives customers plenty of perks, benefits and an overall better customer experience. The growth has been exponential, and because of the quality of the product, almost 90% of customers come through virtually free or very cheap viral channels for us. And because these customers love Tinkoff Black, they are more inclined to use other products in the ecosystem. In fact, the share of Tinkoff Group customers with 2 or more products amounts to 31%, but the share of Tinkoff Black customers with 2 or more products is already more than 50%. And once again, those numbers are lowered due to the exponential acquisition progress. Our Tinkoff Black active customer base is growing by about 60% every year. You can see that almost 40% of our new utilized products are coming from existing customers, therefore at lower customer acquisition cost. This is up from close to 30% a year ago. You can also see what our most cross-sold products are: insurance, cash loans, home equity and investments, where more than half of customers pick these products after already having had another Tinkoff product. So while we have already made some significant progress, and we know which channels tend to bring more engaged customers, the journey towards engagement has really only just started. Here you can see how our customers are distributed across the different types of products: debit cards, credit cards, other credit products and other non-credit products. The most important message from it is that you can still see a lot of customers that are on the fringe of this diagram, showing that in fact more than 6 million customers still only have 1 product. A huge opportunity for us to grow cross-sell and engagement. So how do we think about cross-selling and therefore maximizing engagement? Today we'll discuss 4 different types of cross-selling activity. The first is complementary cross-sell. That's when certain products are designed to work very well together. Digital cross-sell. This is how we are able to encourage customers to take on more products through our super app and digital channels. Proactive cross-sell. These are the tools that we use to proactively offer products to our customers, like telesales and our smart courier network. Last but not least, subscription. That's our Tinkoff Pro subscription that was launched in November of 2020 and where we have already made some significant progress. So let's tackle them one by one. So to start with complementary cross-sell. As I mentioned earlier, this is when certain products are designed to work very well together, with complementary functionalities and, very importantly, simultaneous onboarding. This is when customers come to us for a product that also requires to open a current account for Tinkoff. For example, a customer that comes from a cash loan is encouraged to open a Tinkoff Black account so that the money can be disbursed directly to his debit card. An investment customer is encouraged to open a Tinkoff Black account so that he can transact directly from his debit card. And an SME customer is also encouraged to open a Tinkoff Black account so that he can fully benefit from the services that our SME platform offers. And this is a very successful channel. And you can see that over 440,000 customers by the end of 2020 came from SME, investments, or cash loans, and then also became active Tinkoff Black customers. This shows another way to look at the success of our complementary cross-sell. After 1.5 years of using their main product, a certain proportion of these customers still use their Tinkoff debit card. After 1.5 years, 60% of active SME customers use the Tinkoff Black debit card. 55% of active investment customers use the Tinkoff Black debit card, and 20% of cash loan customers use the Tinkoff Black debit card. Next is digital cross-sell. The idea behind this way of cross-selling products is that by providing a digitally native experience through a best-in-class super app, we can become the go-to and trusted provider for any financial service. To further digital cross-sell, we have created what we internally call the Tinkoff marketing platform. So why do we need a marketing platform? Because we have a huge amount of increasing traffic through our mobile app, which gives us a huge amount of touch points that can be used to cross-sell more products to our customers. The Tinkoff marketing platform consists of contextual suggestions that are provided within the app in various forms. This means thousands of unique outbound marketing communications that can appear in several places within the app, and hundreds of targeted communications that can happen through the Tinkoff Stories channel. These targeted communications are tailored to customers. They are based on analytics on customer behavior and on our constant test and learn approach. These models are systematically improved through machine learning, helping to increase their effectiveness and driving more successful responses. And these are some examples of what it looks like within our super app. Stories are at the top of our app. Banners could appear in the accounts or transactions tabs, as well as in the lifestyle services tab. We also have pop-up windows, as well as automated chatbot messages. And digital cross-selling channels are already showing meaningful results. Within 2 years of using a debit card, more than 10% take on a credit card, more than 15% take on a brokerage account. But more importantly, the speed at which customers take on new products is increasing rapidly. You can see that in fact, it used to take us from 1.5 to 2 years for 8% of a particular Tinkoff Black customers generation to open a brokerage account. It was just 2 years ago. Now we are approaching the same result within only 1 month. Moving on to proactive cross-sell, we are mainly talking about 2 tools. Telesales, which currently employ more than 8,000 people, and Smart Couriers, which currently count more than 3,000 people, and have become a fully fledged sales force on the road. The main use cases for telesales relate to the sale of credit products, mostly from point-of-sale loans to credit cards, from credit cards to cash loans, and from Tinkoff Black to credit cards. And it's a very successful tool. Within just 2 years of taking a POS loan, about 15% of these customers go on to using Tinkoff credit card. This channel is very much a representation of our focus and push channels, where we go out to the customer directly to encourage an application. This way, we can pick and choose who we want to lend to, reducing the risks of negative selection. Things worth noting here is that we are developing the ability to cross-sell our products also through inbound calls and chats, and that we have very strict rules around how frequently we contact customers so that we don't overwhelm them with our communications. Anyone who has followed Tinkoff is very much aware that we have an outstanding smart courier network that enables us to work without branches. These couriers carry out more than 60,000 meetings every day, all over Russia, to fulfill the regulators' physical KYC requirements. In fact, in February 2021, we had some days with more than 80,000 meetings. These couriers do much more than just deliveries. At every meeting, they are incentivized to offer additional products to their customers. And this is an increasingly efficient channel as well. We are currently at the point where the NPV of credit cards and investment accounts sold during the delivery of a debit card covers about 75% of the delivery costs. Since the beginning of 2019, we have seen a 7-time increase in the sales of additional products by smart couriers. One of the most successful cases here is the sale of Tinkoff Mobile SIM cards. 52% of Tinkoff Mobile acquired customers in November 2020 were done by couriers that were actually delivering another product. The last addition to our cross-sell toolkit is the subscription offering, which we unveiled for the first time in November 2020. The idea behind subscription is that if we provide more privileges to our customers, we could increase their loyalty and encourage them to use more products, increasing their lifetime value. Our main subscription product is called Tinkoff Pro. It costs around 200 rubles per month and gives several advantages to our customers. Many of our own products are included at preferential terms. For example, high deposit rates, higher and more tailored cashbacks, lower fees on cards, discounts on our insurance products, and many more. Importantly, we are also adding external partners to broaden the network effects and give a broader selection of benefits. It's still too early to discuss the results of this initiative, as we are still testing and learning, but we have ambitious targets and already have some interesting results. By the end of February 2021, we had more than 300,000 subscribers, and those numbers are increasing very quickly. In general, what is important is that over the years we are developing an increasingly clear understanding of how certain products are cross-sold more efficiently. For credit products, we still see good traction in traditional proactive channels, like telesales and courier network. On the other hand, the higher the virality potential and the more mass affluent and younger the target customer is, the more it makes sense to cross-sell customers through digital channels and our super app. This is the case of Tinkoff Black and Tinkoff Investments products. So to conclude my section, I hope that I have given you enough detail about our cross-selling strategy and to convince you that we should be able to increase our products per active customer statistics from 1.4 at the end of 2019 to at least 1.7 at the end of 2023, supporting the growth profile of the entire group. And this will be done in spite of the denominator effect from exponential customer growth. To do this, we need to continue to innovate, offering interesting new services and user experiences. For more on that, I'll give the word to my colleague Kostya.
Thanks, Daniil. Hello, everyone. My name is Kostya Markelov, and I'm the head of business technology at Tinkoff. So far today, you have seen our growth plans and how we plan to build a comprehensive and engaging financial and lifestyle ecosystem. But we don't stand still. Our ecosystem is constantly evolving. And to enable that evolution, we need our ecosystem to be at the forefront of innovation. Therefore, in this part of the presentation, my colleagues and I will share with you our vision and many examples of what already makes us an incredibly innovative ecosystem. We will provide evidence of the fact that we really are a technology company with a banking license, as you have heard us say many times before. Initially, we developed our expertise in artificial intelligence as we automated our processes and operations. As you can see, we did a pretty decent job saving more than 200 million rubles per month, thanks to the introduction of chatbots. In 2020, almost 1 of every 5 incoming communications was dealt with by bots, and we are striving towards reaching 50%. And these are excellent bots. As you can see, we poll our customers, and regularly more than 90% of them state that the chatbot was helpful in resolving their problems or issues. But this skill set that we developed got us thinking. Our customers have a lot of choices they need to make. How do I spend efficiently and smartly? I have cash. How do I save it and make it grow? Which card should I use? how should I pay this bill? And while they have a lot of choices to make, they are all looking for the same outcome. They want to maximize their money, maximize their free time, and maximize their happiness. So then the question was, we are already developing a significant AI skill set. Can we use it to help our customers solve these issues? So today, I'm here to tell you about our vision beyond the super app, which in so many ways is already ahead of most financial players worldwide. But we think we can go further. Today, I'm here to tell you about the vision past the super app, which we call AI banking. AI banking is an ecosystem of the future, which helps customers become wealthier, helps them save, helps them reach their goals, gives them advice and recommendations, automates their finance, beats their expectations, and simplifies their life. We envisage several pillars to this AI bank vision: timely and tailored advice and recommendations, user interfaces that are personalized for each customer, automation of customers' financial life, a voice assistant which helps to make life easier, and gamification, driven by user and brand-generated content that can drive engagement and improve the user experience. The AI bank has to be able to give some advice to our customers. These have to be personalized communications that encourage customers to take a certain action that will be beneficial to them. That might be suggesting a certain purchase at a specific store, a certain way to save, setting up a certain recurring payment, or opening a specific financial product or account. These pieces of advice will be personalized and relevant to each individual customer and will be delivered through several channels depending on the type of advice and the type of customers. You have already seen some of the channels earlier in this presentation when we discussed digital cross-sell. Its recommendation feeds, stories, pop-ups, banners in the app, and many more. As our advice becomes more and more personalized and relevant, our customers will learn to use this functionality as a standalone product. It will help them manage finances, invest, and become wealthier. It will help them save by suggesting smart behaviors. It will simplify their lives by suggesting suitable products and services, and will make the banking experience all the more pleasant by including lifestyle expenditures. These functionalities will be increasingly relevant because we have a huge amount of data on our customers' life, their current situation, their financial habits, their socio-demographic status, their transaction behavior, and much more. Another one of the pillars of AI banking is that it should also be able to provide the ultimate personalization to the customer by tailoring the user experience to the needs of the individual. For example, the app should predict why the customer may be about to open the app, whether it's because he forgot his PIN code or because he just entered the mall and wants to see what offers are available. The app interface can therefore change based on the customer's profile. If you're a car driver, card products should be more prominent. Recurring payments and tailored offers should be prioritized in the interface, and the voice assistant should help personalize the experience. The next pillar is the automation of finances. This means taking to the background all the boring, monotonous banking and payment tasks so that the customer's time is freed up for more enjoyable transactions and activities. This means taking care of regular payments, transfers, taxes, and fines. It also means automating those choices where the data and context can help the customers make the right decision. By providing tools to risk profile our customers, we can automate the right investment, portfolio rebalancing, and tax optimization decisions. The next pillar we have is Oleg, our voice assistant that we develop in-house and that is embedded in our platforms and that is devised to make the customer's life simpler. Here you can see some of the things that Oleg can do. Automating customer support, helping to navigate the super app, helping customers engage with us as more than a bank, by guiding customers through our non-financial services, offering personalized recommendations and tips, helping to save and earn money, and to organize customer finances. In a nutshell, Oleg provides the revolutionary type of user experience. And last but not least, the next pillar is the use of interactive mechanisms and content in order to engage more with the customers and improve their user experience. This includes benchmarking against our growing customer base to see where there could be improvements relative to a customer's income, expenses, investments, or habits. Once again, this is done with the goal to help customers make the right decisions about their financial life. By providing almost an endless onboarding process, customers become aware of more of the ecosystem's capabilities, ultimately driving retention and service penetration. So this is our vision for becoming the AI bank. For this vision to be successful, it will require that we call an AI-first strategy to be implemented. The idea is that for successful implementation of AI banking, we need to go way past optimizing internal processes using AI. But we need to embed AI capabilities in all new products, test our technologies in the open market, and make sure we develop the suitable infrastructure and expertise. And the crucial enabler of our AI-first strategy is to put in place the right structure to embed AI in the organization. Within Tinkoff, we have recently created what we call the Center for AI Technologies, a group of more than 100 scientists responsible for developing products, technologies, and infrastructure based on machine learning, as well as researching new technologies and helping us to create a culture where machine learning technologies are used in all aspects of our businesses. This center will bring Tinkoff to a new level of innovation. It will act as a repository of know-how, building a community centered around research, creation of new technologies and AI-based products. We view this as a virtuous circle. Creating great AI products will help us bring in better talent, which will build know-how, carry out research, build new technologies, and so on. We are very excited about what this center can bring to the group and to our AI Bank vision. And now, over to my colleague Slava Tsyganov to prove to you that we have the know-how to reach this AI vision.
Thanks, Kostya. Hello, everyone. My name is Slava Tsyganov, and I am Chief Information Officer at Tinkoff. Today, I will take you through the infrastructure that we are building in Tinkoff to enable us to create AI banking and to make sure that AI is embedded in all our internal processes. By the end of my presentation, I believe that you will be convinced that we truly have the skill set to become the AI bank. AI technology is so powerful that it's changing business as we know it. Of course, everyone talks about it, and it's actually quite easy to launch successful AI pilots, since there are a lot of frameworks on the market. But it's really hard to apply AI at scale. But difficult tasks have never stopped us in Tinkoff, because we know that if we want to solve the challenges of tomorrow, we cannot do that using technologies of yesterday. We understand that in order to leverage machine intelligence at scale, we have to optimize the entire architecture, infrastructure, skills, and the way we operate with data across the entire company. This is the reason for launching our own modern state-of-the-art AI platform called Kolmogorov. Our platform is named after Andrei Nikolaevich Kolmogorov, who was probably one of the most gifted Soviet mathematicians and one of the greatest mathematicians of the 20th century. This is an AI-powered infrastructure that allows all our AI software to run. This platform is designed to boost our productivity with AI and powers us towards achieving three strategic objectives: to grow, to manage risk better, and to increase efficiency. End-to-end AI platforms are increasingly becoming a competitive advantage that allow companies to dominate their industries. Tinkoff built Kolmogorov from the ground up as a scalable cloud-based platform that powers a diverse set of AI use cases at scale. In 2020 alone, data scientists at Tinkoff used Kolmogorov to run thousands of model training experiments across several AI use cases such as computer vision, natural language processing, recommendations, personalization, fraud prevention, and more. Later, I will show you some of the coolest use cases that we have been able to develop. These AI platforms have several benefits. By nature, they optimize processes and therefore lead to efficiency and productivity gains. They are built so that they can be easily altered, edited, and changed. They can be adapted to work with any vendor or supplier. At their core is the idea of keeping data secure and protected. And for them to function properly, they embed strict governance rules that ensure that all activities are logged, explained, and enforced. A good AI platform makes it easy for developers, data scientists, and data engineers to take any AI project from idea to production quickly, cost-effectively, and under control. But for a great AI platform, we strongly believe that is not enough. If we want an AI to be really adopted within the organization and ingrained in the company's culture, it cannot be used only by people with engineering or scientific degrees. We need product managers, designers, analysts to be able to use it as well. It needs to be simple, because simplicity is at the core of adoption. This is true not only for the consumer products, but it's true for any platform. A good analogy is that we are out to build an AI platform that is as simple to use as Excel, but with the strong computational power of a supercomputer. So now I will run you through some of the key AI-based technologies that we developed. Once again, as a proof that we have the skills, the talent, and the organizational structure to become the AI bank. In order to apply AI to our IT operations, we have implemented a system called Sage. If AI is the brain, Sage is the cardiovascular system feeding it with real-time data. Sage collects all types of data: logs, text, wire, metrics, API, and from nearly any source: our services, our apps, or our infrastructure. Sage is a combination of a new age monitoring and best-in-class analytics. Sage gives us the ability to observe and receive insights from all business systems and processes. And if a cardiovascular system not only feeds the brain, but it powers all the organs, similarly, Sage not only feeds the information to the AI only, but it is at the foundation of all the applications that we built and run at Tinkoff. Next is our cybersecurity app. I'm sure that many of the people in the audience today have been subject of a social engineering or phishing attack over the last few years. In fact, these occurrences are increasing dramatically. And what most companies implement is traditional security approaches focusing on perimeter and endpoint security, like traditional antivirus and firewalls. Unfortunately, that is prehistory, as increasingly often we can face the threat from inside the organization rather than outside. At Tinkoff, instead, we want to stay ahead of this fast-growing, diverse threat landscape. And so we built our next-generation security operations center with embedded AI capabilities on the top of the Sage. Our cybersecurity system can monitor all sorts of data and behaviors to detect anomalies. These anomalies can be very wide-ranging, from certain login accessing sites and locations that are abnormal, to detecting spikes in the payments and suspicious network connections. This way we can detect any kind of threat that has happened before or that has never happened before, unlike the antivirus that we talked about earlier. The system is so smart that it can also automatically prepare an optimal workflow to carry out an investigation. Since we launched the system, we have had 10,000 incidents and anomalies investigated, of which 140 were actual attacks on our systems that the system was able to stop. Next is our anti-fraud app. There are two important aspects to fraud detection. We want to maximize the number of real fraud detections, but we also want to minimize the number of false positives. That is when we think there has been a fraud, but in reality there wasn't. Reducing false positives is just as important as identifying real fraud. Not only we don't have to annoy our customers as much, but we can also refocus time and resources toward actual cases of fraud. AI helps to prevent and detect fraud by flagging unusual transactions and is capable of detecting and monitoring unusual behavior. For example, here we are showing you the results of implementing new machine learning model based on 3DS transactions. That is transactions online where the physical card is not present and that are normally confirmed through SMS or push notification. What you need to pay attention to is that since the implementation of our new system, our ability to identify real frauds has increased by 1.6 times, while at the same time our ability to reduce the false positives has increased by 2.4 times. And we are confident both the statistics are going to continue improving as the machines continue to learn and study new data. One of the most powerful and compelling types of AI is speech recognition and synthesis, which you have almost surely experienced in any number of ways. From when you reach a call center and can choose options by voice, to the more advanced uses of Siri or Alexa. We have our own proprietary technology that underlies our Oleg voice assistant. And currently, based on the word error rate measurements, we provide one of the world's most accurate Russian language recognition. Here you can see that the lower number, the fewer words the system gets wrong, and therefore the more accurate the speech recognition software is. How in the world did we manage such stellar results? It wasn't easy, and in fact it took us 3 years. First, this is the testament to our R&D talent. Second, we collected a huge amount of data, 15,000 hours of audio, tens of thousands of hours from our call center, and even hired an announcer who was ready to record speech for us for 5 months. And third, we managed to process this data through our Kolmogorov supercomputer to develop deep neural network models. This software is so good and so powerful that starting from July 2019, we have made it available to the market, therefore turning it into the actual revenue stream for Tinkoff. Here you can see how fast this usage by third parties is growing. Both the number of requests to use the system and the duration of speech that is being processed is growing very quickly. Offering proprietary AI-based products to the market is incredibly powerful. Not only it helps us to improve the models as we collect even more data, but it also brings in new customers. Most of the B2B companies you see here had no financial relationship with Tinkoff before, and now are interested in expanding their cooperation. For now, we are only selling our voice software to the market, but it's been such a successful example that we are confident that other AI products that we develop, such as face recognition, conversation and recommendation engines, anomaly detection, as well as standalone software like Sage or our cybersecurity app, will be in demand and will drive the future revenue from non-financial pure IT services. The reality is that we have made great strides already to embed AI in our organization, but we are only just getting started. More on how AI is implemented in the organization in the field of risk management from my colleague Zhenya Ivashkevich.
Thank you, Slava. Hello, everyone. My name is Evgeny Ivashkevich, and I am the Chief Risk Officer at Tinkoff. Today, I want to show you some of the most innovative AI technologies that we are developing in the field of risk management. Our customers' risk assessment process is already incredibly data-heavy and technologically advanced. We process literally millions of product applications every month, and this massive pool of customers' data helps us constantly improve, validate, and recalibrate our predictive models. Yet we believe that artificial intelligence can bring a new level of precision and predictive power to these models. The first set of risk management AI technologies we developed in-house is related to face recognition. We have two main tools here. The first one, which we call Tinkoff Creator, is our face biometric service that can match faces in photos to detect fraud. We managed to create a really high-quality technology. As for its accuracy, we can correctly match pairs of faces in photos 99.2% of the time. In terms of its response speed, it is capable of processing more than 300,000 requests per hour. Finally, our face biometric service is extremely flexible and seamlessly integrates into our ecosystem and our business. Our other technology is called Tinkoff Lava. It's a liveness detection service that can identify from video streams whether there may be a fraudulent attack onto our mobile application or our ATMs. This is still in its development stage, but the initial results are very promising. These face recognition solutions are already being used at Tinkoff to recognize fraud at the credit application stage. But we also plan to roll them out across other parts of our business. First of all, they can be used for ID verification both in our mobile application and in our ATMs. We also plan to use them for customers' onboarding to our Tinkoff mobile product. Finally, this biometric service may also facilitate our access to credit bureau data and to other national registers. We also believe that at some point, this product may also be ready to be sold to the external market, similarly to what you saw earlier with our voice kit solution. The second AI-powered technology that we are particularly excited about is the ability to do transaction scoring. This is of really high importance because it adds a new dimension to our risk assessment. If you look at traditional social demographic variables and credit bureau data, they have very good long-term predictive power. However, by analyzing our customers' transaction data, we can improve the short-term predictive power of our existing models. This means that we can more promptly notice and react to an individual customer's increased risk. There are lots of variables related to customers' transactions that we can monitor. Date and time, the location, the channels through which the transaction was made, the amount, the frequency of some particular transactions, and many more other customers' transactional patterns. This real-time information about changing consumer preferences directly influences our automated credit decision programs, such as our credit line increase program and our program to select the most relevant cross-selling offers. For example, customers with frequent purchases and high revolve rates may get faster credit limit increases. Also, we may be able to create micro-segments based on spending categories to promote more effectively certain products, features, or loyalty programs. Over the years, you should have grown accustomed to our ability to control risks. Yet we believe that this new type of AI technologies can help to further enhance our ability. And with this, we conclude our section on how innovation will help us deliver our AI bank vision. The set of examples we showed you today are just a teaser of what we think we will be able to do with the power of artificial intelligence. And now, over to Stas.
Thanks, Zhenya. Up until now, you have seen our ambitious growth plans, and you have learned about how we plan to build the most comprehensive, engaging, and innovative financial lifestyle ecosystem in the world. But there is something else that makes us stand out, something that we have done every year since 2008, in spite of all the challenges along the way. It's the fact that we are able to marry growth, product development, customer focus, and innovation with uncompromising focus on profitability. And not just any kind of profitability. We have built a business model that is able to generate substantial and sustainable profitability for our shareholders. Let me explain what I mean exactly. First, we have a track record of very substantial profitability. As we discussed before, we generated an average 56% ROE between 2017 and 2020, growing earnings by an average of 38% per year. We have been profitable every year since 2009, and our NPV approach ensures that we can deliver at least a 30% return on capital through the cycle. This approach is complemented by an extremely rigorous monitoring of all profit drivers, with individual businesses assessed with standalone P&Ls. What is remarkable is that we are fully convinced we can sustain this substantial level of profitability over the long term. Why? Here is a simplified way of looking at it. First, we have built a business that now has diversified income sources and a flexible model that allows to respond quickly to any challenges and opportunity. Second, we have an incredibly entrepreneurial, innovative culture. And third, we have a very rigorous systems of checks and balances. These three ingredients combine into a business model that not only can provide the level of substantial returns that we have generated over the last years, but they act as a huge competitive advantage. That's why we think we can continue to compound earnings predictably for many years to come. So first, on our diversified source of income. At the end of 2020, almost 20% of our loan book was deployed in secured loans, when only in 2018 this portfolio was insignificant. We see potential for this portfolio to command an increasing share of our lending portfolio, benefiting us in several ways: low capital intensity of growth, further diversification, and additional monetization of our customer base. And as a reminder, we do not see this secured portfolio as dilutive to our returns. Importantly, not only the credit sources of income are increasingly well diversified, but so are the sources of income beyond credit. 2020 was a milestone year for us because the number of active debit card holders surpassed that of active credit card holders. A sign that our business is growing into a fully fledged financial ecosystem. And as we will see later, this also has translated into significant bottom-line contribution from our non-credit businesses. Our broad product set also enabled us to significantly diversify our customer base. We now have a disproportionate share of younger and affluent customers in Russia, especially for non-credit products like investments and Tinkoff Black. Here is the share of 20 to 30-year-olds, and the average salary are significantly higher than the Russian average. The beneficial impact of this is having a customer base that is more engaged, more loyal, and that helps to spread the word about the products they use and love. Another advantage of having a very diversified customer base is that it helped us to close one of the main gaps with our competitors: the gap in funding costs. As you can see, back in 2015, our funding costs were 6% higher than the average of the largest state banks in Russia. Now it's less than 1%. This gives us also huge flexibility to manage our liquidity and our growth profile. Another key driver behind our ability to predictably compound earnings for years to come. There are also aspects of our business model that ensure we can be flexible in reacting to challenges and opportunities. Our best-in-class digital acquisition and servicing channels mean that we can acquire customers and service them at a fraction of the cost of our competitors, while enabling us to make changes to our distribution and servicing model easily and quickly. This was particularly evident during the lockdown of 2020, when our customer acquisition machine worked faster than ever. Additionally, because more than 30% of our total operating expenses are customer acquisition costs, this gives us a huge buffer to defend our earnings power even in times of stress. Once again, something that was very visible in 2020. And last, our organization is extremely flat, with little bureaucracy and a high degree of delegation, which means the decisions can be taken quickly and giving us the ability to move faster than our competitors. This organizational structure is reflective of our entrepreneurial and innovative culture, which we can sum up as our Tinkoff DNA. Nothing of what we have shown you today would be possible if it wasn't for the vibrant environment, where our highly skilled employees are given the freedom to test, to experiment, to challenge each other. It wouldn't be possible if our employees didn't work together to create products that are valuable and loved by our clients. It wouldn't be possible if these employees didn't feel proud of their organization and didn't feel they were an integral part to their success. This is a culture that our own employees have created and cultivated over the years, that we defend with jealousy and which will lead us to achieve the ambitious targets we set. It's what allows us to be competitive on the labor market and what has driven us to be in the top 3 employers in Russia. And now what to Oliver for a few comments on our system of checks, balances, and our concluding remarks.
Thanks, Stas. The last important ingredient that we believe will enable us to predictably compound earnings for years to come relates to our rigorous approach to checks and balances within the organization. Firstly, in the field of capital allocation and capital management, our priorities are clear. We want to maintain a robust capital position at all times. Ideally, we'd like to remain at least 200 basis points above our minimum regulatory requirements. Secondly, we'll always prioritize NPV positive growth. Our preference is to grow by using organically generated capital, as we have done for most of our history. But if the opportunity is right, we'll raise extra capital to grow because we're confident in our ability to generate returns that exceed our cost of capital. Thirdly, if our capital generation capability remains strong and our capital buffers are at comfortable levels, we'll return capital that is not needed for NPV positive growth to shareholders. As I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, we returned more than 37 billion rubles of dividends between 2017 and 2020. Our approach of rigorous checks and balances is also evolving at the corporate governance level. We're pushing ahead with a program to enhance our corporate governance and bring it up to a world-class standard. 2021 has already been an eventful year in this respect. In January, shares were declassified, putting all shareholders on an equal footing. Along with our full-year financial results, we improved the segment detail in our reporting to give the market more transparency on the high-growth businesses that we have in our portfolio, including Tinkoff Investments, Tinkoff SME, and Tinkoff Acquiring. But we're not done yet. The next step will be to enhance and expand our board of directors with new, high-profile independent directors that can contribute to oversight and can act in an advisory and strategic capacity to help steer the Tinkoff ship as it continues to grow and makes moves into new business verticals and new markets. Our aim is to increase the board to at least 9 directors by the end of the year and to create 4 committees, including a strategy committee and a sustainability committee. At the same time, we want to preserve our agile startup-like culture at the management board level. So we'll make sure that we establish an efficient liaison and an energetic exchange between the new board and the management team. Please watch out for forthcoming announcements on this. We're committed to wider sustainability and ESG practices and disclosures. We think we already have a great story to tell. We're a socially conscious, digital, innovative company that also is one of the most progressive employers in the country. However, we know that there's more that we can do on this front, and we welcome your feedback on this as we move forward in this area. So now we can finally circle back to our 2023 strategic objectives. We want to grow our customer base profitably by building the most comprehensive, engaging, innovative financial and lifestyle ecosystem. Today's presentation has given you an insight into why we think we have what it takes to achieve this, and now what this will mean from a financial standpoint. Firstly, we'll see the same strong unit economics through to 2023, both in revenue per customer and net income per customer. This is important because both the diversification within the credit portfolio and diversification into non-credit businesses not only improves the resilience of the business, but also enables us to maintain similar levels of returns and profitability. Secondly, non-credit business lines will grow in relative contribution to the overall profitability of the group. This is driven by their earlier stage of development and by the huge SAM opportunity that we see in these areas. To wrap up, here are the key KPIs that we expect to achieve by 2023. 16.5 million unique active customers, 1.7 revenue-generating products per unique active customer, 28 million revenue-generating products outstanding, a growing share of revenue and profits from non-credit business lines, over 30% ROE every year, over 20% net income CAGR, taking us to over 75 billion rubles, or $1 billion, in 2023. We hope this presentation was a good window into our vision for Tinkoff. Throughout this year, we'll be giving you more detailed presentations about individual business lines that deserve their own spotlight. Right now, we're happy to take your questions.
Hello, everyone. I'm Neri Talardo, VP of Strategy at Tinkoff, and welcome once again to our Strategy Day. Hopefully the first hour and a half were interesting, thought-provoking, and transmitted our conviction that we can grow our customer base profitably by creating the most comprehensive, engaging, and innovative financial and lifestyle ecosystem. Today, I'll be joined live from our studio in Moscow by all the speakers that you have listened to so far, as well as by our CFO, Ilya Pisemsky, and we all look forward to take your questions. But before we get started, I need to make 3 small remarks. First, as we reminded you in the presentation, we do plan to carry out product-specific events throughout the year, where we will go in a little bit more detail about the individual businesses that make up the Tinkoff ecosystem. We have lots of businesses, they deserve their own spotlight, and it would be a pity to rush through them. And we'll kick off this series of events in May with Tinkoff Investments, so please be on the lookout for details. So obviously we'll be happy to discuss the strategy and the outlook for these individual businesses, but just keep in mind that much more detail will be provided in due course. Second, 2021 has really started with a bang, and our pace of growth and the virality of our products has beaten some of our rosiest expectations, both across the non-credit and the credit business. And that's why, while our guidance of over 16.5 million active customers by the end of 2023 obviously still stands, at the current run rate, it does look like we will be able to meet this 16.5 million threshold noticeably sooner. As a matter of fact, by the end of March of this year, we had already breached the 10 million active customer mark. And third, 2021 also started with a bang on the product development front. This week, we launched Russia's first online BNPL service that allows customers to split their payments at checkout in 4 installments, 2 weeks apart, for a total of 6 weeks. It is called Dalyami, which in Russian could be translated as fractions or installments. And it's a natural addition to our payments business with great advantages both to customers who will have an extremely seamless and convenient payment method in more and more e-commerce platforms, and for the merchants that we are working with, who we trust will see increased conversion and customer stickiness. The product is in test mode, as you might imagine, but we'll be happy to discuss further the rationale behind this launch. And now, without further ado, please feel free to raise your hand on your Zoom screen, and we are all ready to take your questions.
Hello.
Hi, Andrew. Please go ahead and ask your question. Yes.
Hi. Thanks very much for the presentation. It was very entertaining and informative. I've got a couple of follow-ups to some of the kind of teasers, I guess, that Oliver mentioned. I mean, one is in terms of international expansion. I mean, one of the things that kind of came across, I think very clearly in the presentation was, the huge potential opportunities that you see in Russia, and you talked about your SAM and your plans to basically, more than double the kind of active products or products active customers over the next 3 years. I'm just wondering, given this potential, why do you see the need to potentially kind of move into other markets and expand internationally? And could you give us any kind of details as to what your thinking there is? Any pointers as to where you would be looking? That's my first question. And then the second one was, Oliver, I think you referred to potentially raising capital if opportunities were right. Could you just kind of clarify what your plans are there, and your thoughts on raising capital? Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew. So I guess Oliver will take the first one, and then perhaps Ilya can also add on the capital front.
Sure, Andrew. So we've been touting this idea a little bit recently, as you pointed out quite rightly, about international expansion. As you can imagine, we're doing this very thoughtfully. So we're not going to take a dive into something without thinking about it very carefully, understanding the repercussions, finding the right place to do this. Basically, it's not right to tell you more at this current moment in time than we've already said in the past. So in the recent past, we've said that it's not Europe, it's not the US or North America, and it's not China, and it's probably Asia, yeah, which leaves quite a large geography, but narrows it down a little bit. So basically our thinking behind this is that it's not going to be one of the crowded, saturated, let's say developed markets, not at this stage. It's going to be a market where there's scale in terms of population, where there's infrastructure, where there is enough of the prerequisites for us to do fintech, but where we can do a deep dive. Yeah, so our model that we're thinking about at the moment is not a light model where you skim off a few 100,000 customers in 20 different markets. That's not what we're thinking about. We're thinking about something which is deeper, licensed and balance sheet, but using all the technology, the service capability, and obviously the deep product and risk management expertise that we've developed here. We think that it's a good time to do it, but just to finish this off before I hand over to Ilya, it takes a while to move into a market, another market which isn't your home market, yeah? So the earlier we start now, having taken this conceptual decision, the better, but it's not gonna happen in the next 2-3 months, yeah? This is something which will take a while to choose, land in our desantniki, as they call them in Russia. Yeah? So to parachute the right people in, to build the team, to hire the local guys, and to actually build the platform. So it's going to take, 12, 18 months before we get the thing up and running. So it's a good time to start now. And this will not detract from the core business, which, as you said, is growing very strongly in Russia and will continue to do so. Ilya, capital.
On the capital side, well, Andrew, glad to see you again. As we mentioned many times, we are capital generative and we have pretty good capital buffers right now, both statutory-wise and based on Basel III. So we don't need to raise capital at the moment, and especially taking into account that we postponed dividend payments for 2-3 quarters. I guess that the thing that Oliver mentioned is about the additional capital which we can enhance through perpetual bond instrument. We already have one $300 million which matures in September 2022. And by that time, we would probably like to re-enhance our additional capacity for Tier 2 capital before that date. But again, it all obviously depends on the markets, depends on the pricing. But by that time, we will have additional capacity, which is again can be calculated through our ratios.
So just to make absolutely crystal clear, just in case it wasn't understood or it didn't come across clearly in my opening remarks in this presentation, we have no plans for additional capital raises apart from the perpetual subordinated bond that Ilya mentioned.
Okay, understood. If I can ask a quick follow-up on regulation. It was very interesting what you were talking about in terms of kind of AI banking and obviously extracting a lot more from the data you have of your customers' behavior across the ecosystem and with the partners that you work with. I'm just wondering, do you think there's any risk of any kind of difference of viewpoint that the central bank may have in terms of the way it's thinking about trying to regulate ecosystems and the use of people's data? Do you see any risks kind of from that side in terms of your kind of further kind of progression of this AI banking? Thank you.
Well, perhaps I guess we can have Kostya talk a little bit about how we plan to use data in the AI banking world. And then on regulation, perhaps Ilya can talk a little bit about what is happening on the regulatory front.
Thank you for the question. Russia has a very strict privacy laws and data privacy laws, and we strictly comply with them. Data protection is one of our top priorities, and we use data, and we don't use the data that the customers don't allow or don't consider it to. And we have a whole department that carefully studies all the central bank initiatives and all the legislative initiatives and monitors compliance with them. And so we also have the right compliance structure in place to make sure that the ethical and some kind of moral implications of using AI you have mentioned are addressed when we build new processes and products. And of course, we monitor the central bank's legislative initiatives as well. And also I want to mention that we have never received yet any complaint about our some kind of biased attitude or some to our customers. So we today interested into complying all of this legislative initiative, and I believe the huge amount of data that we have, we manage it to appropriately and some kind of in appropriate way.
Okay. On the regulation, Andrew, I think you mentioned specifically the regulation on ecosystems, which have been milled about for quite some time now. And you know, my sort of thinking about the increasing regulation, I think it's actually always for good, and it protects us generally in the marketplace, and we are sort of in a very good stand towards that potential regulation on ecosystems. First of all, we are relatively small compared to big muscle guys we all know about. Second important thing that our ecosystem is very inclusive. So we like to partner more than buy and make our exclusive services, because we actually we believe that these relationships should be among us, our partners, and our customers is not a zero-sum game, and everyone will sort of benefit from that if it's all open for partnerships, and it's also very important that it's more capital light. So I think this regulation, and of course we don't know all the details, but it's probably going to be in our favor.
Thanks, Ilya. And I believe Stas wanted to add something on our ecosystem strategy. So over to Stas.
Yeah. Hello. Basically, I would like to add that we are in process, or just we are in discussion with central bank, who is going to regulate ecosystem, and I'm sure that they will hear us, and it's necessary to say that they are going not to regulate only financial ecosystem. They are going to regulate or participate in regulation in all ecosystems, including e-com players and etc. And basically, as Ilya mentioned, we are creating an ecosystem based on partnership approach. And I suppose it might be we will be one of the beneficiaries of this regulation, because we are open for everybody, and this regulation will concern not only banking but also e-coms, search, socials, and messengers.
Thanks, Stas. Andrew, does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's great. Thanks very much, and good luck, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew. Can we go to the next question, please?
Good evening, everyone. Thanks very much for the very interesting presentation indeed. I will have just two questions, please, one on the product suite and one on competition. First of all, maybe starting with your product suite, which is obviously very extensive, and it's fascinating to see how you're planning to deploy these and basically connect these services within the ecosystem to drive engagement. Would you say that the products that you have today is more or less complete, and it's now time to monetize and increase cross-sell, or is there actually an area where you'd like to still expand, for example, e-commerce or anything similar? And secondly, just on competition, Your numbers obviously speak for themselves, and I think it could obviously drive attention from both existing players and non-existing players right now, which may also want to enter the market in Russia. So how do you see the competition evolve in the next few years, both from existing players and non-existent players, for example, tech players or foreign players, for example? So these will be my two questions, please. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Mehmet. So just to frame the question, I think the best way to go about it is perhaps to discuss a little bit some of those products that we mentioned that were part of our TAM as opposed to our SAM. So those products where we might go in the future and that are very adjacent to our existing services. So perhaps I'll ask Daniil to discuss briefly our strategy in BNPL, which is a product that we, as I said earlier, just launched this week. And perhaps also to touch on our experiments that we are starting to do in mortgages. And then perhaps I'll ask Stas to discuss briefly the potential in SME lending, which again is something that we've included in our TAM and not something that has been included in our SAM. And then we'll move over to the competition question afterwards.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Great question, actually. So talking about our BNPL solution that we have launched just 2 days ago. So this is the solution which is very similar to Afterpay. So this is more than a way of payment rather than a credit. So it's just like a button which integrates into e-coms, and a customer can fill a short application, just 4 or 5 fields, like his phone number, email, and that's all. And after that, he gets an instant approval. So I think that we will be able to partner with the majority of Russian e-coms in this field and to build like a successful way of paying, more than just a credit. So that's why we think that this solution will not compete with our lending business. So, and about mortgages, actually, we are thinking about it, and we think there are some things that can help us to build a successful business here. So, first of all, it's the growing number of our Tinkoff Black customers, and we see that there are a lot of customers with a very good risk profile, and actually they get a lot of mortgages in other banks. So they think that we have a customer base which will take our mortgages. And from the other side, our funding is decreasing. Our funding cost is decreasing. So we are now competitive with almost all Russian players. So that's why we think that we can give a good price for our customers in mortgages. So that's how we think about it.
Perfect. Maybe Stas can add a little bit about SME lending.
No, first of all, I would like to add to answer Danilo answers. So basically, we continuously we are trying to continuously developing new products in every area. It's not only a lending area, but also a transactional area, and we consider it BNPL as more transactional products. And also, we have a huge plans for investments product, insurance, and in SME. And just if I think about SME, we have a wide range of products at the moment. It's more related to the banking current account servicing. It's included tax accounting. It's including acquiring. It's including some additional services like cloud call center, etc. But also, we are going to introduce, and it's not the right word, introduce. We are going to increase our credit products for SME. To be honest, we have a wide range at the moment product developed already. It's overdraft, cash loans, secured loans, loans secured by turnover, etc. But it's not so huge in terms of volume. So if last year it was around 1 billion, at the moment it's around 2 billion rubles, so it's quite relatively small. But what's interesting, it's profitable business line, lending in SME, and there is several reasons. One of the reasons is that we have quite low tickets, quite high rates, and short duration. Why we decided to do this way? Because we would like to build lending in SME based on the scoring model, And this is the reason why we decided to issue short and small tickets, just in order to get data to create a model, scoring model, and also to gather expertise in estimation of the our customer businesses for our customer. And as I already told, it's quite positive. We can see that we can control risk. We can see that there is a request from our customer to get more loans in this area, and we'll continue to develop our expertise. And I think we will increase our loan a little bit this year, but next several years we will have bigger balance in semi lending.
Thanks, Stas. If we speak about competition, I think it would be interesting to hear Slava's view as to why we have the tech capabilities to compete with any other player, be it on the banking side or on the tech side. And then perhaps again, Stas or Daniil can add a little bit how we compete on product and why we can create products that our customers love and that help us to compete with the guys with perhaps even bigger pockets.
Thank you, Neri. Thank you for the question. So broadly speaking, technology improve our ability in 4 strategic areas, like higher profits, like at scale personalization, customer experience, and the rapid innovation cycles. That's why we believe that our ability to make the new steps in this area, they can benefit us as well as the other players on the market. But if we look at our history and how we operated during the previous years, you can see that we always focused on the several products and the several directions that give us the ability to be quicker than the competitors in the markets. At the same time, we have right now the ability to build quite a big software solutions, because we have around 5,000 IT people on the board at Tinkoff right now, and we have the ability to move quicker due to our innovative style in this area.
Thanks, Slava. Maybe over to Daniil, a little bit on the product development and why we are able to build the great products that we build.
Yeah, I think that actually, if we're talking about products, the devil here is in the details. So you really think to care about details, to think about all the use cases, to have like a customer-driven development or design-driven development. And our organizational structure and our approach to product development actually helps us to build those products successfully. And as you know, I think our mobile app is the best in the market. And I think that we have like the best people who have very good expertise in how to develop product, like designers or analysts or technologists. And that's why they think that we will be able to make more great products later. And also we have the technology that helps us to do this, because we have like best-in-class systems that Slava mentioned in the presentation. And I think that it's all about that. So it's all about people, our organizational structure, our way of thinking, test and learn approach. So it's our main principles of how we develop our products.
Thanks, Daniil. Mehmet, does that answer your question?
No, basically, can I add?
Yeah, absolutely. Go, Stas.
Yeah. Just basically, I would like to add to my colleagues that some another idea. So the first, we have quite big database, not database, client based, and this the number of our clients is continuing to grow. And in addition to this, we have a great expertise and capability for cross-sell. And just as you can see, we have launched new products last 2-3 years. For example, investments or our MVNO operator. And just you can see it's quite successfully, because we can create a nice product, as Danilo mentioned, but also we have capability for cross-selling this product on our database. And our customers, they like and they expect the nice products from us. But what's more interesting and what I like, and I would like to share, how we structured inside in Tinkoff. So if you look in Tinkoff inside, you will see that we have a common platform for all businesses. So we have platform IT development, risk development, acquisition, cross-sale capability, customer service, etc. It's all platform. It's quite independent platform. And all business line we build based on this platform. And this structure allows us to launch very quickly new ideas or new products. It's not necessary to create huge independent team. It's really, if we believe that this product can be suitable for our customer, we can quite quickly develop this product, make MVP, understand is it going to be developed or not. So just by the end, just again, it's easy for us, as we have such structure inside, it's easy for us to launch new products in a very quick way.
Thanks, Tas. Mehmet, does that answer your question?
Yes, that's all very useful color. Thanks very much, everyone.
Thank you. On to the next question, please.
Okay, yeah, thanks for doing this presentation. It's encouraging to see that you do have a vision for the business. What surprised me a little bit is your expectations around the non-credit profit contributions, which I see in the presentation you don't expect to increase like materially from the current level. Could you talk a bit about how you think about growing these businesses and their contributions? And in particular, if you could comment on the brokerage, on the retail brokerage business, what the 3-year strategy assumes in terms of profit contributions from this segment, without wanting to front run the product presentation. And then moving to the credit business, I think investors have found it useful that you have talked about the risk-adjusted margins, the risk-adjusted NIM. It would be interesting to hear how you expect this to develop as your business moves towards a lower risk and presumably lower margin model. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Gabor. Lots to unpack there. So perhaps we can start with Ilya to discuss briefly why it's always a little bit challenging for us to give targets as to the proportion of different businesses and credit and non-credit for that matter. And then maybe we can move to Stas to discuss Tinkoff Investments and its outlook, and then we'll take the next question after that.
Right. From what I got, there are two questions on financial side. So one about the proportions in our business, and second about credit margins going forward. On first one, well, we would like to grow every part of our business, every vertical, to the highest degree possible, taking obviously quality into consideration. And we do not want to limit credit in favor of non-credit specifically. It's not how we run our businesses, our verticals. We see that non-credit businesses develop proportionally faster than credit in terms of, definitely in terms of revenue, but also in terms of net income. But it's probably because it starts from a lower base. But also I have to again reiterate that right now, at the moment, where there is a very good time for us to put on gas for the credit businesses as well. So we see a lot of opportunities in the credit, and therefore they will also accelerate from this point, especially after the COVID year. In terms of the margin and our product diversification on the lending side, obviously the gross yield will continue to slide down slowly but gradually. towards certain plateau, which will probably reach in a few quarters. But right now, as the less yieldy products are developed faster, proportionally faster than more yielding products, then the gross yield will continue to slide down. At the same time, we enjoy the reduction in our cost of funds, especially taking into account how fast our sort of cheaper funding sources are developing, such as money coming on current accounts from retail customers, money coming from SMEs, and also most recently, money coming on the brokerage accounts. So that will support our net interest margin to a certain extent. And then talking about the risk-adjusted net interest margin, we also see the sort of the trend in reduction of our cost of risk, again, because of the diversification of the product mix within our loan portfolio, as the less yieldy but less yieldy products with collateral, they bear lower cost of risk. But mentioning all this, again, I have to reiterate that our idea is to maximize NPV and not necessarily the margins. So in the NPV calculation, in the NPV formula, there are other important considerations as well, such as cost of acquisition, which is significantly cheaper for the bigger size collateralized loans, and cost of service.
Thanks, Ilya. Moving on to Tinkoff Investments, Stas, can you give us a little bit on the outlook for Tinkoff Investments?
Okay. First of all, we like our Tinkoff Investments, and I'll try to explain why. Because during our presentation, I mentioned that we have several purposes for our product development. One of them was customer acquisition, another was monetization, and the third one was engagement. And when we launch Tinkoff Investments, we consider this product like as a monetization product. And it worked in this way. But then we understood that it's not only monetization, but it's also customer acquisition. And now we can see that a lot of new customers are coming for our investment product, and we can then cross-sell for our Tinkoff Black and then to our other products. And it's really good in a unique product. But also what is necessary it's interesting to mention that Tinkoff Investment, it's also an engagement product, because the people, they like to use this product. And what we can see that, just for example, usually the customer have deposits in several banks, and just what we can see is that as soon as we introduce investment in our ecosystem, we see that our customers start moving money from other bank to our bank using our products in Tinkoff Investment. So it's really cool that this product support all these three purposes. If I talk about what we are doing with this and what our targets for P&Ls, I can say that we constantly developing the products, and just we are targeting from micro investment to macro investments, or just from first timers or beginners to advanced high net worth individuals. And of course, we will support it with different new product development, or just we will introduce some additional robo-advising services, or we will introduce some services for high individuals. It's more tax consultancy or advices. And it might be we will do some products very soon for private segment. And if I talk about impact in our P&L in the future, what I can say that at the moment we see that these products is very popular around our customer. And again, some figures. By the end of the year, last year, our balance was around 300 million, and now it's around 400 million. So you will see that we have a track for increasing number of customer and balance as well. we don't see that there is, okay, let's say another way. So we're trying to diversify income from investment business. So we will have different type of commission, transaction commission, or bond commission, or even lending commission. And I think we will be on the same level of income in terms of portfolio for the next 1 to 2 years.
Thanks, Tas. If I would just add a couple of things on the investment side, because a lot engagement side, I think there's a really interesting development, which is the success of our social media platform that we have on the Tinkoff Investments, and we are looking for ways to further leverage the social element of investing as one way to both grow engagement and monetization. And the other thing is the focus that we have on educating of our customers. So we have textbooks, we have webinars, we have lessons, and we have all sorts of initiatives to make sure that our depositors, many of which are investing for the first time, will actually stick around for the long term. And as for the financial impact, again, it's a bit early, and we might discuss a little bit more when it comes to the product-specific session. But I think it's fair to say that this one is the one with the highest potential in terms of non-credit businesses and in terms of bottom line contribution. So obviously we're investing a lot, and we need to balance that growth and profit and investment. But this is definitely the business that can become the biggest on the non-credit business side, and even bigger than some of our credit businesses. I hope that answers your question.
It does. It was very comprehensive. Thank you, everyone.
Excellent. Thanks. On to the next question, please. Hi, Elena. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, so good afternoon. Thank you very much for impressive presentation. And my question is about your international strategy. So what kind of strategy is there, like in terms of execution? So do you feel that you can enter new market with one of the products like credit cards or your flagman program products or Tinkoff Black, and how easy it's to scale out of Russia to a new country with new customers where you don't get too much data to analyze to get a proper product? And also to this question, do you enter this new markets via partnerships or like from scratch? So maybe just on your strategy, if it's not too early to say.
Thanks, Elena. Again, I think it's a little bit early to discuss some of these details, but perhaps I'll just let Oliver comment and add anything.
Sure, I'll do this quickly. So, hi, Lena. There's lots of details to be worked out in terms of our international strategy, obviously. So you'll be hearing a lot more about this as we go through the year, and probably later in the year rather than earlier. But Tinkoff has always been about a smart use of balance sheet. Yeah. So we're a fintech in that we know how to develop a really good interface, a fantastic customer experience. We know how to integrate all of this, and we know how to innovate and come up with new products and services and features all the time. We're pretty quick, and we're pretty adaptive. Yeah? So all of this means that we can compete wherever we go, as we've successfully demonstrated here. But we're about balance sheet. We know how to build a balance sheet business. So there are some obvious products that we could start with. So that could be consumer lending products. It could be credit cards. It depends on the market. It could be brokerage, but it's always going to be current accounts as well, as a way of bringing in lots of customers with a really clean, crisp experience when we onboard them, giving them an excellent interface, obviously mobile and whatever's going to come after mobile. None of us know yet, but I'm sure it's coming. Maybe it'll be virtual reality, who knows? Which is a way of onboarding millions of customers into the market into which we enter, and then we'll lend to them. So exactly, what the details will be, as I said, it's too early to disclose because we're still working on it ourselves. But it will be high growth, it will be licensed, and it will leverage existing Tinkoff expertise in terms of risk management and developing product and interface.
Yeah, one small question from my side as well is about guidance on customers and on financials. So I assume this is not accounting for international expansion and all the new business products you are going to add, like e-leasing, private banking, and
Yeah, so maybe I'll just take this one quickly. So this actually links into the previous question. So it's a good job you asked it, Liana. So all the numbers that we presented to you in the presentation today exclude any potential new customers from international expansion. And it also excludes a lot of potential upside in SME lending, in us moving into servicing high net worth customers, leasing, and even things like mortgage, so which are a bit kind of closer to where we are today. So there's lots of upside in what is actually a very strong growth plan, as you saw earlier in the presentation.
And I would just add again something that I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, that this year has been moving very quickly already. And our pace of customer acquisition growth this year has already surpassed a lot of our expectations. And so that 16.5 million threshold should definitely be reached before year end of 2023.
Thank you very much. Very good luck.
Thanks. On to the next question, please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the comprehensive presentation. I have quite a bit of questions. Let me focus on some. First of all, could you help us put in numbers your outlook on the direction or evolution of net interest margin and cost of risk in the next several years? So this is my first question. My second question is, on slide 96, you do show that there is a range of non-credit profit in total revenue, which you will want to have in 2023. The lower end of this range shows us that this share can even fall, marginally, but fall. So under which scenario do you think you will get to this potential fall of non-credit revenue in total revenue? My third question is about international expansion. Thank you for giving us a feel how it would look like or could look like. But maybe you can help us to understand how sizable you think this international business will be for you in the next several years. I assume you wouldn't give us a number, how large a percentage of revenue, but will it be small? Will it be significant? Maybe you can give us a range. My fourth question, the last one, is about regulation. There were already questions. I think Andrew asked about the new regulation of the ecosystems. Have you seen this draft from the Ministry of Digital Development? And if you have seen, can you help us to understand the essence of this regulation? What exactly this regulation wants? So what exactly the state wants to do when it wants to add a regulation to this segment, ecosystems and digital platforms? And maybe as a part of this question, do you see any chance that there might be a regulation of?
I think we might have lost Olga. Again, lots to unpack there. Let me just start by taking the question on non-credit revenues. So as you will see in the presentation, there's quite a broad, let's say, range of potential outcomes, but the guidance is that the non-credit businesses will grow in importance. We're just being conservative because we do want to grow our credit business. But on the non-credit side, we have an amazing payments business, which is the acquiring one. We have an amazing investments business, which Stas has talked about earlier. We have a really fast growing and highly profitable SME business, which we can discuss in more detail. So the share of non-credit revenues will grow over time. So please don't take that bottom end of the range as a very likely outcome. On the international expansion, again, without maybe spending too much time on this, as again, we're quite limited on what we can say. Over the next 12 to 18 months, we will be giving you update, and you can expect this to be obviously very small to start with and not something to start putting in your models just yet. Perhaps then I can give the word to Ilya if he wants to discuss in a little bit more detail what kind of assumptions are going into our over $1 billion guidance by 2023, although again, we haven't given guidance for individual lines, and perhaps on regulation as well, although I think we discussed ecosystem regulation earlier.
Right. On our guidance, numerical and I guess if you run certain spreadsheets which mimic our developments, you can see that we are able to grow at a very fast level, at our pace, and we are able at the same time show the returns on assets and on equity on a pretty high level. So it's 8 to 10% for 6 to 8 to 10% from year to year on return on assets, and about 40% on return on equity. And it all corresponds to the growth of our businesses. And taking the credit businesses alone, we are not going to decrease the speed of growth of our loan portfolio. So that's one leg of our growth, which we put into the guidance. And the second leg is that, as Neri rightly mentioned, our non-credit businesses, they will scale up, and they will, we hope they will develop faster. And right now, we see it mostly through the revenue, as the business is relatively small and we have to spend a lot on customer acquisition, which pays off a few months or maybe quarters later. And therefore, as these businesses grow in scale, they will, we hope we will be able to send this sort of top line profitability to the bottom line, which will also support us in getting to $1 billion. But again, it's not sacral. There is no sacrality in this number. It could be more or less depending on the exchange rate, obviously.
Maybe I'll take the ecosystem one. Just to add a quick word to that, if that's okay, Neri. So and just to move on from the previous topic, so it's, a couple of people seem to have been asking about in the lower range scenario, the share of non-credit income may actually drop a little bit. So I think in the base case, it's kind of over 50% of top line comes from non-credit business lines, and they're taking that as a negative sign, but that's not what it actually is, because it means in absolute terms we're still going to be growing the income from our non-credit business lines very fast indeed. So the growth is actually accelerating, as you've heard from colleagues today, in SME, in investments, in the payments and acquiring businesses, and potentially even in insurance. The absolute numbers are going to be very strong. So what determines the share of non-credit income in the overall result is obviously the speed of growth in the credit businesses. So if the credit business lines grow even faster than we were expecting, then that will dilute the share of the non-credit businesses. It doesn't mean to say they're underperforming, so it's important to understand that. We're very, very bullish on both sets of the businesses, the payments and non-credit businesses, particularly investments, as you heard, and the credit businesses. So on ecosystem, just very quickly. So basically the central bank and other state entities, the digital department, a digital ministry, I should say, are looking at how they think the market's going to evolve over the next few years. They're looking at which, let's call them ecosystems, are going to emerge as the dominant players who hold most of the market share, and understand what's inside those ecosystems. And so they're trying to understand how to protect data. That was Andrew's first question. And make sure that access to data is equitable in the market, not just from a data protection and privacy perspective, which is very important. And so they're thinking about APIs and maybe even open APIs. That's discussed in this document. And they're very important. This document is just a discussion document. It's not setting out any regulation. It's just weighing up the pros and cons and looking at different arguments and interests. The second is how you protect competition. So they're worried about some ecosystem players who are freezing out other players in the market who are not ecosystem players, are restricting their access to goods and services, which ultimately is bad for the consumer. That's one of the arguments. And the third is what's happening in the space in general, because Russia is something of a walled garden, as you know. So big tech players in Russia are largely absent from abroad. but we have our own big tech players, indigenous tech companies in Russia, who are building ecosystems. And what that environment's going to look like a few years out, and how you make sure it's traveling in the right direction as opposed to going the wrong direction, which could cause problems for competition and the consumer. That's basically what's contained in this document at the moment.
Thanks, Oliver. Let's go on to the next question, please.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. It's been very helpful. I have one question about your guidance. To me, the 75 billion appears quite conservative. If I take the 16.5 target that you have, and looking at the chart on slide 95, where you have a target of about 5.4, 5.5 for net profit per active customer, I get to something closer to 90 billion. So why is the guidance conservative, and what's the difference?
Yeah, Nida, thanks for that. Perhaps I'll just take that again. We've given a range for that chart, and 3 years is a long time, and we'd rather be conservative as we've always been, and then surprise on the upside than do the opposite. So take the 75 billion as a bottom end as per the guidance. Okay, thank you. We can go on to the next question, please.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thanks for the call, and I wish you to exceed your targets in your strategy. I got two questions. A lot of has been discussed already. The first question is about your dividend trajectory. I understand that this is not the key point in your investment case right now, but are you ruling out coming back to 50% payout ratio in foreseeable future? This is the first question. And the second one, your strategic targets look more than achievable, given your strong track record, obviously. But if you would need to choose, like to make a ranking of your targets, importance ranking, what will be the top priority targets in your list? Thanks.
Thanks, Andre. I will probably ask Ilya to start with this question.
Right. On the dividend side, you see, our policy in general was to spend as much as we can on investment, to basically spend into growth, and then have relevant buffers for capital adequacy, so be on the safe side. And then third priority is to distribute all the excess capital to our shareholders. And for the last few years, we found a good formula of distributing 30% to the shareholders, and that allowed us to grow at the speed that you all know, and at the same time remain with very good capital buffers in our business. So recently we decided to postpone dividends for a few quarters because we see more opportunity in the growth, both organic and non-organic. But again, that's not going to continue forever, and at some point we will return to the dividend-paying mode. Again, right now it's difficult to say what at that time be the right level for us to again fulfill all our interest in growth and remain at the same time with good capital buffers. So it at some point when the lighter capital non-credit businesses will continue to grow faster and contribute more and more to the bottom line, one thing. And second, our investment ideas won't require too much capital. In this case, we might sort of look again at our 30% long-standing 30% payout. But right now, I think it's too early to discuss this.
Thanks, Ilya. And Andre, sorry, do you mind repeating your second question once again?
Sure. I just wanted, if possible, to formulate the question this way. I mean, if you would need to make an importance ranking of your strategic priorities, what will be your top priorities? I mean, if you would need to choose between the sort of your key targets of credit, non-credit business, of your customer engagement. I mean, sort of the cross-selling. I mean, what will be sort of the most important targets for you, and probably where do you see more challenges out of the market competition? Thanks.
Thank you. But perhaps I can start this, and then maybe Stas or Oliver can add. But I think the beauty of this strategy is that all the elements are very tightly interlinked with each other. So if we don't grow the customer base, it will be very difficult for us to actually do any sizable cross-selling and making sure there are network effects that get people to actually use more of their products. And it wouldn't be the Tinkoff strategy if it wasn't linked up with profitability as well, and if it wasn't based on our MPV approach. So I don't think there is any particular pillar of this strategy that we would be willing to give up. I think they all go hand in hand. And therefore we are fired up to deliver on all of them. I don't know if there's anything that anyone wants to add in the audience. I think Stas wants to add.
Yeah, thanks for the question. Just I can share my feeling about this question. So, and try to explain what I'm personally targeting. Because again, we have different discussions within the company, and it's fine that in this discussion we can find the right way. But if I'm talking about myself as a head of business development, basically we are targeting for three things. First of all, it's customer acquisition. So we really would like to increase our number of our customers. And just as you know, we have a dream to get 20 million customers. And basically, it's not a dream. I suppose we very soon start dreaming about bigger number of customers. It's first big things, and we try to push the business line to increase the number of customers. The second very important target, or just a lot of activity we are doing, it's a number of products per customer. And basically, it's if we increase a number of customers in an exponential way, and if we increase the number of products on the customer, so we will have much bigger potential for metrics, so-called products, customer products, okay, product customer. So it means that we will have a lot of utilized product by customer in our ecosystem. And third one is, of course, profitability. So we are constantly looking on profitability of each product and each our initiatives. And of course, we have purely products which we can make money or monetize, like SME business or investment business or our credit loans. But also we have a product for engagement of acquisitions. And even in these business lines, we would like to be not a profitable, we'd like to be in a break-even level. And to be honest, we do not have a negative business line or deep negative business line in the old phase. All our products, at the end, they will be much more profitable. We are targeting, or they will be on the break-even level.
Thanks, Stas. Andrei, I hope that answers your question.
Sure, thanks a lot. Very helpful.
Excellent. Let's go to the next question, please.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. I have a follow-up question on competition. It's a cliche question to ask about your competitive advantages, and you talked about it. But let me ask you about what you think the main weaknesses of your competitors are, and why? What is behind it, and can it change?
Thanks, Andrei. Interesting question. I think probably Stas and Oliver have some ideas to share on this.
Okay, let me start. If I go competition, what I think that there is a competition for customer attention. So there is, we can see that a pure new company, fintech company, e-com company, and they're trying to get as much customer in their ecosystem and they're trying to catch their attention in order to engage them in their ecosystem, and in order to increase time spent in their applications. They would like to increase the cross-selling, increase cross-sell products per this application. So, and if I'm talking about competition, I think it will be the competition between not the banks, it will be competition between big company who has huge customer attention. It's first of all. Second of all, and in this area, we have a lot of opportunity because as you can see, we have a huge plan for growth customer base and penetration of our products within the database. The second one, it's of course products and UX. And I think we're quite good in new product development. Again, we are trying to implement and we are trying to analyze a lot of new experience in Russia or over the world. And if we find the business in this area, we are trying to implement in the good way in terms of products. And our customers, they like our products. And this is the reason why we have quite high NPS among our database. And the third area of competition, it's of course customer acquisition. But again, we, as you can see on our figures, we're quite good in customer acquisitions in terms of newcomers for our ecosystem, and also in terms of cross-selling our existing customer, our new products or existing products.
Maybe just to add very quickly, because the question was about the weaknesses of our competitors. So we don't want to pick off each competitor yet, because we've got some very, very, very strong competitors, and not just today, but to come in the future as well. Russia is a very competitive place in financial services, and is going to get even more competitive over the next few years for sure when obvious names start to come into the market with their own financial offerings. But if you think about the competitors that we have today, in terms of why have we been able to become a magnet for young professionals in Russia? And young professionals, I mean 25 to 40. Yeah, these aren't very young. These aren't teenagers. These are young, urban, active, mass affluent, traveling, consuming customers. Because other guys are a bit clunky in their service. Their default tends to be branch. So if they can't solve something through the call center or maybe online, then they'll send the customer to the branch, which isn't a very nice experience for them, particularly if they have different expectations and, let's say, standards set by ourselves in terms of service levels. Problem resolution is weaker in our competitors, and speed. So it's not just about the entrepreneurialism and innovation and product design and UX that Stas has been talking about on our side. It's about the others being good, but just not good enough in some cases, so it's a bit patchy. And then if you're thinking about the new competitive entrants that we're expecting to come in and already starting to come into the market from e-commerce and online, in particular, but there could be others as well, they're going to have to learn from scratch. So there's a lot of things they've got to do in the right order, in the right way, without burning too much capital as they're trying to work out how to do it. It takes them quite a long time hiring the right talent to do it. Some of them are likely to get it together over time, but they're a long way behind the curve. And in the meantime, we're getting better and better as we go along.
Andrei, I hope that answered your question. So we can move on to the next one, please.
Thank you very much for presentation. It has been very entertaining and interesting indeed. Once I was looking through the slides and looking especially at the return marketing investment, which is basically LTV divided by customer acquisition costs, it seems like that the three products, namely investments, acquiring, and home equity, do have one of the most attractive unit economics in your growth areas. So the question which I wanted to ask regarding this is, whatever impact we are going to see on the LTV or LTV CAC composition in in the acquiring business line once you would be scaling up your buy now, pay later acquisition. The second component of kind of a similar question is that if we look at the other products, where you see the biggest room to improve the unit economics in terms of the other products and where you would like to scale up. And probably last but not the least, I was just like comparing the takeaways from the presentation of one of your biggest ecosystem competitors. And the thing which has surprised me actually a lot is that they have been talking a lot about the e-commerce, and we haven't talked about this too much. So I wonder, what are your big strategic thoughts about the e-commerce in Russia, and whatever your role you're willing to play in the development of it? Thank you.
Thanks, Misha. Excellent questions. So on the first one, on the unit economics and in general, I think the value proposition of our payments business, I think we can probably give the word to Oliver. And then the second one on the unit economics improvement of other businesses. Well, let's start with payments and then we'll move on to the next one actually.
Sure. Hi, Misha. So on the acquiring business, I'll kick off, but I'd actually like to hand that over to Daniel, because BNPL was, I think, the specific point you're asking about, and that's an interesting kind of interplay, if you like, because we always talk about the acquiring business as being a business line in its own right, which obviously intersects with SME, because we've got lots of SME customers who take our acquiring product, and the acquiring product has been souped up, if you like, and made into Tinkoff Kassa, Tinkoff Checkout. But that could actually also be supercharged by plugging in BNPL as a payment type. It's basically a deferred payment option, which is actually, in our world, a B2C product as opposed to B2B. So, you know, there's a bit of thinking to be done around this, but if you think of Tinkoff Checkout as a product for partners, for merchants, not just small merchants, it could be large merchants as well. And we've got a lot of very large merchants. In fact, if you look at most of the online players in Russia, in e-commerce and beyond e-commerce, we do a lot of the acquiring for them, and payments beyond acquiring. So, for example, electronic escrow and all kinds of things. If you think of that product with BNPL as a payment option for the customer at checkout, built in, then that could even further supercharge our acquiring effort. So I'm going to hand over to Daniel there.
Yeah, about BNPL, the interesting thing that it's also add another product to our portfolio for merchants, because actually we have several products for them. We have our target product, so this is the cashbacks which we pay, merchant-funded cashbacks which we pay our customers from merchant. So we have BNPL solution, we have acquiring, and we also have points of sale loans. So actually we have a lot of products which can be sold to the merchants which are selling different goods to their customers. And one of the interesting things about this is that we can bundle those products and give the bundle for the merchant, which will consist of all the products are designed to increase their own sales. So that's why it can help in general to increase our LTV for the merchant in general. But at the moment, I don't think that we can give any details about how it can influence our acquiring profit.
Thanks, Daniel. Perhaps on your second question, I'll take it on the improvement of LTV and CAC ratios across the portfolio, because I don't want to oversimplify it, but as a matter of fact, we're constantly trying to improve the unit economics of each one of our businesses, right? So if you look back, if we had done this presentation a few years ago under our point of sale business, you would have probably seen that it would have been some of the lowest LTV to CACs, because at the time, the business was purely a customer acquisition channel for credit cards. But over time, as we discover new channels, as we moved online, we managed to improve the unit economics there, and now it's a profitable business on a standalone basis. Of course, there's more room to improve our LTV to CAC in something like insurance, where we quite haven't found yet the silver bullet to disrupt that market. But even in highly profitable products like cash loans, we're also doing all sorts of experiments on the rates, on the take rates, to make sure that we can constantly improve that LTV to CAC. So again, I think across the board we are looking to improve the economics there. And I think Ilya wanted to add something.
Yeah, well, that's actually I like this question a lot. Thank you, Misha. I also thought about this why it's sort of in certain areas the LTV to CAC is much better than in others, and it seems to me that the important thing is the maturity of the business, the one thing, and second thing, which again grows from the first one, is what product, what propositions you compete with. And if you take these two probably most lucrative businesses in this sense, such as investments and home equity loans, first of all, these markets are only developing and there is a blue ocean ahead. So these are relatively new. One thing, and second thing, you because of this compete mostly with something different, not from that specific market. So for the investment, you compete with deposits, with the falling rates seems to fade away a little bit, and on the home equity loans, you compete with bigger size cash loans, loan propositions from other players, which basically offer a different economics for the customers. They are more expensive, and for other players, it usually have a bigger size. So that's the source of competition, not the home equity lending from other players, right? But for example, for the car insurance or for car loans with a point of sale lending, these are more mature businesses. And you compete with the similar products from a bunch of very competitive guys. So that is why it's a bit more difficult to significantly improve there. And again, there are products where we specifically not sort of targeting the profitability, but use the products as an entrance points. For example, current account business, right? We obviously can improve profitability significantly there, but it's not in our interest at all.
So just to pick up on that point of Ilya's, and this further demonstrates the upside potential that we have in terms of what we get from the network effect that extends lifetime value and therefore reduces, so basically lifetime to CAC, what this part of the discussion is about. So you're going to get the benefits of scale, but also the network effect, because if you look at the growth driver of our customer base, getting to 20 million plus customers as we've established today, the 20 million is looking like a not particularly ambitious target, so we can get to 20 million a lot quicker than we were initially saying. I think everybody's got that message now. And if you look at our current run rates this year, just for the first 3 months, you can see that we're going through the roof at the moment. These are predominantly Tinkoff Black customers. These are the current account customers. So we're getting more and more of these current account customers, which is, let's say, a more or less neutral business line in terms of P&L. And we've already taken the cost of acquisition on them as a Tinkoff Black customer. And the cost of acquiring a Tinkoff Black customer is going down because more and more customers are coming to us through word of mouth because they like the service, they like the product, they like cashback, different features, they like the integrated approach to the mobile app, whatever it is. It's gone viral. So more and more customers are coming through unpaid channels. We don't have to incur a large cost of acquisition for them. And we've already taken that hit by bringing them into the ecosystem. So today it's 6 million active customers, give or take, monthly active. Before long it'll be 15 million monthly active customers. And they're the guys who are taking the additional products. They'll take a borrowing product, they'll open a brokerage account, maybe they've got a business, they'll open an SME account, etc., etc. They get insurance through us. So in totality, our lifetime value is increasing and CAC's decreasing per customer. So that's the network effect and where all the economies are going to come from.
Thanks, Oliver. Does that answer your questions, Misha?
Neri, may I comment also on this question regarding where we have opportunity for unit economics? I again would like to remind one of the lovely metrics is number of products per customer. And it's very important. Yes, we are doing quite good products and with a good how to say, customer service, an excellent customer service. We believe that if customer has 2 products or 3 products or 5 products of our ecosystem, in this case, we will have a more loyal or more sticky customer to our ecosystem. And basically, in this case, we will have low churn rate and better retention, you see? And based on it, as soon as we will get more products per customer, we will get a lower churn rate, and basically it means that we'll have better unit economics for all products in our ecosystem.
I can also add one thing from the product side. Actually, we still see a lot of room for improvement in every of our products, in our processes, in our scoring models, in our deliveries. So everywhere we have a lot of things to do. We know a lot of features we can make in our mobile app, for example. We know how to increase engagement. And the real challenge for us is just to make execution of all of those opportunities, because we still see a lot of room to improve everywhere.
Thanks, everyone. Misha, does that answer your questions?
Yes, thank you very much. Thanks everybody for answering. That was really comprehensive. Probably the only thing which I would express as a wish, probably for the next course of the deep dives, if perhaps we could talk about the lifetime customer value for those engaged customers, like the 9 million active customers which we have talked about as of end of 2020, and could see the evolution, how you're actually raising this lifetime customer value, to add up a little bit numbers to the very nice descriptions which you have been giving just now.
Perfect. Well, point noted. Thanks a lot.
My pleasure.
Next question, please.
Okay. Just got a simple question, actually, just on slide 86, you showing the loan book diversifying significantly towards secured lending. Maybe just unpack a little bit, is this mainly home equity loans, or I suppose built in there's also mortgages as well? You could just unpack that sort of trend.
Thanks, Stefan. I think I understood your question. Again, the connection wasn't excellent, but it's about the growing share of secured lending in the portfolio and what's going to be driving that. So we can rule out mortgages. That's not part of that guidance. And maybe I'll just pass word to Daniil to talk a little bit about car lending first, which is one of our very high growth products, and then home equity as well and the prospects there.
Yeah, so the main reason why the secured lending is growing in our portfolio is simple, because those products are young, so we have a low base, and we are trying to develop them and to build a successful business there. So we have 2 main products here. The first one is car loans. We were able actually to build a successful business here in dealerships and also in direct. So we are able to cross-sell our existing debit card customers to sell them car loans so they can get a new car. And the second product is home equity loans. So here we have, once again, the main acquisition channel is cross-selling of our existing customer base. About 60% of applications for home equity loans, they can come from our debit card customers. And I think those numbers will be growing later because our debit card customer base is growing. And that's why we are developing those products. We are issuing loans, and that's why the share of those loans is growing in our portfolio, because they're just new products for us. At one point, for sure, the share will stabilize. But now we are able to grow them faster than our traditional product lines like credit cards or cash loans.
Stefan, does that answer your question?
Yeah, thanks very much.
Sorry, we can't really hear you, so maybe we can move on to the next question.
Okay, I had 2 questions. The first was kind of along a high-level question on the international expansion. Just if you guys have thought through any high-level challenges that you think will exist going into a new market, and then also the how a determination will be made whether to continue investment in the new market or pull back if traction is slow to gain, as the first one. And then also, just given the importance of cross-selling products and how relevant that'll be for Tinkoff over the long term, are there any lessons or takeaways you have regarding incentives or sales practices when studying, when it goes wrong at a place like Wells Fargo, for example?
Good questions. Thanks very much. Again, maybe I'll just kickstart on the international expansion, and then if Oliver wants to add. But again, we are very early stages now. We're still developing the framework that will enable us to make a decision. And of course, we are considering all the possible challenges along the way. As Oliver mentioned at the very beginning, we're going to do this. If we're going to do this, we're going to do it in a very well thought out way. But I'm afraid that we're not at a point where we can discuss much more detail than that. And on the cross-selling side, perhaps I can give the word to Daniil again, to discuss a little bit what kind of rules we have in place to make sure that cross-selling is done in a proper way, in a good way, and to make sure we're not overwhelming our customers, etc.
Yeah, thank you. So what we have learned about cross-selling, that really it's important to find the appropriate channel for every customer and every product, because for some products we can cross-sell by telesales. For some other products we can cross-sell by digital channels within our app or stories or office or whatever. And it's really important to have a lot of tests, to think about your customer, to try to maximize the conversion rates, and to be creative also. So in our situation, we have some really strict policies around, for example, telesales. So we don't make phone calls very often. So it can be only one call for 6 months, for example. And the same is in our mobile app. So in our mobile app, we have some rules how often we can make some offers for our customer, how often we can offer some products in our stories, in pop-ups, or in some other places in our app. So the way we are thinking about it is that we really have to find the good way for every product and for every customer.
Thanks, Daniil. I think Zhenya wanted to add something. He raised his hand.
Yeah. As for cross-sell, actually there are two views on our business. One view is, I would say, analytic, when we chunk our business onto units and consider unit economics, and we put this in our presentation just to make clear and explicit what is our business about. And another view is synthetic, when we consider the whole ecosystem as a whole. And Stas mentioned already that it is important to attract customers to any product in our ecosystem. And then we have to try to cross-sell it to other products. This is our strategy. And this is how we choose customer products for every customer. So customer may come to our ecosystem through insurance, for example, and then we cross-sell him to credit cards. And another possibility, he comes to debit card, and then we cross-sell him to cash loan. And as for examples that the author of the question asked, we could consider the transaction scoring I mentioned about during the presentation. Transaction scoring we can build, for example, for debit card transactions, and then use them to separate customer in terms of risk, the quality of customers in terms of risk to assess it, and to cross-sell to credit products. So this is an example of how we could use our analytic models from one product to cross-sell customers from one product to another.
Just very briefly on NPS. So we look closely at NPS. It's not something we talk about very much because maybe it's got a bit jaded, to be honest with you, in terms of as a talking point. But it's something that we look at in terms of formal NPS measurements, but also just looking at customer feedback and understanding what irritates them, what pain points they have. And one of the irritation points could be if we're trying to cross-sell too aggressively or sell them things that aren't relevant, that they don't need, that they don't want, or just bug them. So as Daniil was saying, we look very carefully at our policies and we have rules in place which mean that we're not trying to over-promote things or promote the wrong things. And if you just think of the logic of our ecosystem approach, this is very important because we want our customers, once they're inside our group, to stay there for as long as possible and to purchase the right products for them, which are going to make them satisfied. Sorry for the old-fashioned word, but customer satisfaction hasn't gone away as a concept. And if we're selling them the wrong things and burning through the trees, then they're not going to be with us for long. So it would be an own goal. So it's very important, just built into the logic of what we do in terms of cross-sell. And just very quickly on international expansion. So I see there's a few questions about this. We're not putting all the chips on number 7, in terms of international expansion. As well as us thinking about this very carefully, it's going to be very carefully researched. It'll be staged so that at any point in time, if we don't like what we're doing, we don't like the results, we don't like what we're seeing, we can scale it down or close it. Yes, this is like a test for us. We test different products. We open different business lines. Some business lines we've had to close because they haven't been successful. So we go into this thoughtfully, but equally, we'll be doing it in a staged way. We won't be doing a huge M&A acquisition. We won't be sinking money into a partnership that we're not sure of. We probably won't be doing partnership at all. Now, if we do, it'll be a mini one, and we won't be building 1,000 branches, obviously, because we're virtual. So this is going to be a series of small bets in the new country into which we enter. So you've got to treat it as such.
I have a very small note to the question opportunity of cross-sell. So, as we already talked a lot, that we would like to have as much products per customer as possible because we will have a right behavior in this case. And as we presented already, at the end of last year, we introduced Tinkoff subscription. And basically, one of the main ideas of Tinkoff subscription is exactly to increase the customer with the bigger number of products in our ecosystem. And this is why we provide the customer with subscription some benefits for every product from Tinkoff. And it will help us to increase cross-sell among our base. At the moment, it's quite early stage to have a detailed discussion about subscription, but how many do we have a subscription? It's better to...
At the moment, we have more than 350,000 people, active customers in our subscription Tinkoff Pro. And also about 80,000 in our Tinkoff Premium subscription. And I also want to add one point about cross-selling, because actually not all of our cross-sell is made by push from our bank. So it's not only about offers or calling or whatever. So the engagement of our customer in our app is very strong. And actually, for example, if we are talking about, for example, cash loans, I think more than 50% or even 70% of our application which are done in cash loans, they are not done by offers. It's just the customers who are going into our mobile app, click the button that they want to have a cash loan from us. So the customers really love our application, our products, and that's why we are able to become the first choice provider for all the financial services. So that's why we are pretty comfortable with the cross-selling that we think, because we think that we don't need to have a lot of push communications with our customers.
Thanks, Daniel. Brett, does that answer your questions?
Yes. Thanks, everyone, for the information and elaborating.
Perfect. I don't believe we have any more questions from the queue on Zoom. So, of course, please feel free to raise your hand again if you have questions. But in the meantime, we can move to the questions that we've received by email. The first one is on SME. So we haven't talked much about your SME business. Can you please discuss what your competitive advantage there is, where the room for growth is, and whether there is anything related to e-commerce that you can do with the merchants that bank with you? Perhaps we can let Stas start with this question.
Okay, so it's a lot of questions in one question. So regarding our SME business, so again, one of our competition advantage that we have nice wide range of nice products. It's related card accounts, tax accounting, payments, and etc. Also, we have quite easy process to open account, and again, we have a huge potential for cross-selling our customer database to cross-sell. So around our customer with Tinkoff Black, a huge number of entrepreneurs, and just we are able to make them offer to open accounts and to be in one ecosystem. Also, when we started our SME, we focused on micro business or small businesses, but at the moment we starting to develop the process for acquisition medium business as well, and we have a quite huge potential in this area. So we focus on the small businesses, or like not so small business and newcomers, and basically I can say that every 8 or 9 of new business open in Russia, they open account in our bank, and just we have a potential to increase or double these figures very soon. But also we are focusing on the medium businesses, and we will provide them with additional services, and of course we'll provide with some lending products. So the next question was regarding e-com. What I can say is basically e-com, we can split e-com for 2 parts. One part is purely offline part with this logistics, last mile, and etc. And another part is basically software solution for merchant. And just if I'm talking about this purely offline business, I'm not sure that we will go in this because it's necessary to have a lot of investments. And we are sure that in Russia there are a lot of companies who provide such services, and just if we decided to go and provide the service for our customer, we can do the solution aggregating or third party. But if I talk about the second part of e-com, it's software solution. First of all, it's necessary to mention that we already have a lot of parts of software for our merchants. So, as I mentioned already, we have tax accounting, we have cloud call center, we have advanced payment solution, we have POS lending, etc. So basically, we almost full in this e-com software solution. But of course, there is an opportunity to develop. For example, we can. Okay, I forget to tell you that we have a site constructor or site builder. But anyway, we can provide some additional software solution for our merchant. For example, marketing acquisition to help them to in marketing and to make some integration with marketplace or with marketing platform like Instagram or Yandex and Facebook, and just by thinking about it. Of course, we can help them with some warehouse solution and etc. So, in the end, we are not going to purely offline business because it's necessary to have a lot of investments, but we will continue to develop a software solution for our merchant. And it might be in the future, it will be separate as a different business line. But again, we are still in the discussion, investigation, this product in Russia and outside of Russia.
Thanks, Stas. I think we have one more question from the queue, and this is about our ability to control risks. So you have been able to control risks for your products as they were young, but now that they're maturing and you have more and more products you have more and more products in your portfolio, how do you make sure that you can control risks? So perhaps this is a question for Zhenya.
Interesting question. So we proved that we can control risk when we were young, and we have to somehow convince you that we still can control our risk when we are growing. Actually, we are using literally the same, our general methodology, which we mentioned several times during our presentation, and my colleagues also mentioned it. This is our NPV approach, which is now gradually transformed into lifetime value approach. What we mean by that? We mean that we take our underwriting decisions based on NPV per every customer. So why we take this decision based on NPV? Because we want to ensure that we have long-term profitable relations with our customers, not just profitability for 1 year or some other metrics. We want to make sure that we have long-term profitable relations. And how we take these decisions. So first of all, we forecast behavior of our customers, not only probability of default. This a metric which every bank forecasts well. We also forecast other aspects of our customer behavior. So how the customer will use our product, whether he will repay it back early, or whether he will go to attrition early, or will he use a grace period, cash withdrawal, etc. So we try to forecast the whole behavior of the customer. And based on this, we tailor the optimal product for every customer. And as also the question rightly mentioned, with time, our business and our analytics becomes more complicated because we have to take into account cross-sell of our customers from one product to another. So customer enter into our bank at one point, and we have to forecast not only behavior within the product, within only one product, but the behavior of the customer within our ecosystem, which takes longer time to run all our tests because it's finally it can span through the whole customer lifetime. And the problem is more complicated, true. But comparing current times with our start some 14 years ago, more than 14 years ago, actually, we absolutely sure that we have a lot more information about our customers. So at that time, credit bureaus in Russia started their business in 2005, and Tinkoff Bank started in 2006. So we started almost in parallel with credit bureaus. And now we have a lot of information about customers which are not limited by credit bureaus, but to other sources of information. So we believe that the whole market is growing, is evolving, and our general philosophy, general approach is not changing. So we still want to forecast behavior of our customers, and we still want to forecast, maximize economy of our relations with every customer. So this conceptual framework is the same.
If I could just add very quickly to what Zhenya said. So whenever we start up a lending product, a lending business line, be it on the consumer side or on the small and medium business side, we always start with a very, very conservative approach. We test channels very rigorously, and we have a very low approval rate. If you look at our approval rates on all product lines, they're very, very low. But if you look at the approval rates on the new product lines, they're especially low. So we start very slowly, and then when we're sure about the risk profile, the different metrics, and the expected NPV, then we can start scaling things up, and that's how we work.
Perfect. Thanks, Zhenya, and thanks, Oliver. I believe with that, we don't have any more questions, and we are approaching time anyways. So I'd like to thank everyone for joining us for what I hope was an interesting discussion. Of course, we'll be chatting to you over the next few weeks, days and weeks, in more detail. And perhaps I'll just let Oliver give some concluding remarks, and we'll leave it at that.
Sure. So you caught me a bit off guard there, Neri. So basically, as you can see, we have some very ambitious growth targets. We're upping our forecasts on the number of customers, monthly active, very important customers that we're bringing into our ecosystem. You can see that we're very confident about the numbers, the projections we're giving in terms of products, active products per customer. And we've heard a few questions trying to tease out, trying to probe how sure we are about our profit forecast of around $1 billion, 75 billion rubles or so. We're very confident. We know how to grow, as Daniel quite rightly pointed out. There's a lot we have to execute on, but as we execute, it's not just about growing our existing business lines, scaling them up, opening new channels, and adding new products and new markets as well as we go international. It's also about optimizing what we do, and there's huge unlocked potential there as well. Even though we're a new player without legacy, there's still tons of stuff we can do better. And that execution helps on the customer side, on the loyalty side, on the engagement side, but it also drives our economics. So we see that we have a a very interesting 3 years ahead of us, as all of our 3-year periods have always been throughout our entire history, full of surprises, but also full of opportunities, many of which we've been able to capture. And we look forward to sharing updates with you as we go forward. And please tune in to the various deep dives that Neri was talking about earlier, into the different business lines, where we'll be giving you a lot more color. We'll be introducing you to the team of managers who run those business lines, and you'll see a lot more granularity in terms of how those business lines are going to be developing, in terms of their product, in terms of their growth, in terms of their different customer segments over the next 3 years as well. So that's going to be the next crucial piece of the jigsaw for you. Thank you very much indeed for your time.